I'm here, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment. But I'll be in. I'll be in. Let's start tapping the screen and sharing the live. I'll be on camera in just a moment. I'll be on camera in just a moment. I see you, Black Butterfly. I see you, Lala. I see you, Sierra. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Just give me a moment. I'll be on camera in just a bit. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Just taking care of something real quick. I'll be right on camera in just a moment. Let's just keep tapping that screen. Thank you. Thank you for the gift. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Hopefully your week was just as amazing as mine's. So let's share out the live, share out the live, share out the live. Let me see. Let me get the shares out on my end as well. Yeah, there we go. Share it out to a few folks. Hopefully we can get relationship gumbo in here. He can kind of give us some insight on toxic relationships as well. And this was also requested by Mika before I took that day off to do this. I know she had somebody that she wanted to bring up in regards to toxic relationships. So hopefully she can bring that person in. Yeah. Sanda, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in, y'all. I'll be on camera in just a moment. Sanda, I just realized you're not a moderator. We gotta make that. We gotta fix that. Hold on. Don't know what my mod list is looking like though. Thought you was a moderator. Let's see who hasn't been in here in a minute. It's not many people. I don't know. I might have a mod spot. Let me check. There we go. Yeah, now you got powers. You should have powers now. Because I thought you had powers before. I just realized when you popped in here, you ain't had no powers. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Gotta have all my family. The family has to have the power. I'm saying. But how's everybody going? Rate your mental 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. Sorry that I'm on camera. I'm just preoccupied at the moment. I do apologize. I'll be on camera in just a moment. Thank y'all for sharing the live and liking the live. Sheila, I see you. So my goal today for today's live is 50K. But I also want to see if we can get some subscriptions too for today's live. I'm going to start pushing subscriptions a little bit more because we're going to start giving some more incentives out in regards to the subscriptions. So my goal today is at least 5 subscriptions before the day is up. And 50K likes. And 50K likes. Got a lot of big news coming up. A lot of big news. A lot of big things. Lots of big things. There we go. Wait a minute. Camera ready. It's gonna sit. It's not gonna sit. I don't know. Okay. Alright, I'm back. What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? What's going on? What's going on? I gotta get my computer ready. Running a little bit late. Good morning, Aquarius. How are you? Oh yeah, you already know. Wear a different hat all the time. Gotta have the fire hats. And you can't find them in lids, guys. You can't find them in lids. Working on it. How are you? I'm doing amazing. I'm doing amazing. Y'all know, when it comes to the hats, listen, I got some fire hats over it, you know what I'm saying? Always got the fire hats. What's up, Deb? Welcome in. Ooh, you guys ready for this conversation? Toxic relationships? I'm just saying. Cause listen. And I know what y'all thinking. Right? Y'all thinking that it's gonna be about romantic relationships. It's not. It's not. It's not only about to be romantic relationships. We're not only talking about romantic relationships. We're talking about the toxic relationships with your parents, toxic relationships with your family, and for some of us with older children, toxic relationships with your children. So, but this is more educational than anything, Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? This is more educational than anything. So, we gonna dive into it though. So if it's gonna be too much for you, you might have to hit the door. Message me on the back end and let me know it was too much. You know what I'm saying? I can understand, but I just want to let y'all know we're not gearing away from this conversation at all. At all. My brother, welcome in. What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning.
We back.
Good. Well, we never left.
I mean, we did take a day off.
Well, even the
So we
powers
did
that
take a
be
day
get a
off.
day off. For some
Right.
people, that's called Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's true. So how's everybody doing in the chat though? Rachel mental 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're feeling good. And if you're not, get ready to switch it up. Let's go.
That's it. We're gonna do positivity. 5, 6, 7, 5, okay, 8, 9. I need a mimosa. May, welcome in, 6. I like these numbers though. I'm liking these numbers, right?
Do they seem authentic and genuine?
Yeah, like I think that there's a shift. There could be a shift. There could be better. There could be it could be worse. Well, so I
So
like what I'm seeing.
what's your problem when people say 10?
I feel like because there's room for improvement.
Leave it right there.
Yeah, there's always room for improvement.
That's all it is. We don't even have to grow from that.
Mr. Ease.
Did you see the pun on that? We don't have to grow from that.
Yeah, no. Facts. Facts.
One thing that we don't talk enough about in this channel that I noticed is we talk about information, we help people understand things better, but what we're not actually doing, we're doing it inadvertently, but we're not directly telling people that we're here to motivate you. We are here to motivate you and push you encourage you, pull you, push you, whatever have you, into a place where you can at least entertain a different point of view. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And that's all we're doing. We're not trying to force you. We can't force you, but we're going to give you some information so that you can take the information that we're giving you, and then you could go do some research and then put it together and do what works for you.
No facts. And people got you guys. I would hope you guys know that we're trying to motivate you and we're not trying to break you down. Like
No,
you know
we're
what I'm
not trying to
saying?
shame you. We're not trying to
Right.
shame you.
As long as we've been doing this, I would hope that's not the case. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we've been doing this for so long, you would think that people would know that we're here to motivate you guys. We're not here to break you guys down.
Well, we constantly have new people coming in on Saturdays, right? So it's almost like we have to kind of like reinvent the wheel. So what I want people to understand, if they can, is that just because you feel ashamed, watch this, and you should feel something about whatever situation you get yourself into, doesn't mean that someone is shaming you. Just because you feel ashamed, because we feel natural and guilty, right, about things that we do, and we regret some things we said. I could have went that, about it a different way. I should have used more discretion, more prudence, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
whole point, the whole point is you should feel ashamed. But every time that you feel ashamed, it's a growing experience, not to blame the person who's giving you the information. They're not shaming you. You should feel ashamed. Stop blaming the person that's actually trying to help you. Stop using them as a punching bag. Being ashamed is okay. That's actually something that's part of growth. You have to sit there and sit in your own shit. But
No,
stop looking for a way out by attacking the person that gave you the information. Stop doing that because I've seen that a lot, especially in these TikTok streets. It's like, oh, and I'm already used to it. It's almost the same thing when people say, "Hey, Omega, are you talking to me?" I feel like you're talking to me. I'm talking to everybody. If the shoe fits, then
word.
wear it. If it doesn't fit, get another pair. Your turn is coming. But there's something here for everybody. You're not immune to everything that we say, but not every topic is going to resonate. Are we saying that everybody's like this? The only time that we're saying that everybody is like something is when we say that everybody is like something.
Right.
Period.
See, but involved in the TikTok shoots than I am because you know Saturdays after Saturdays I don't step out of my out of the realm of TikTok. I try to avoid it. So I know you're in different boxes and different spaces, so you see
Mm-hmm.
more than I do. But the spaces that I've been in, and everybody can attest to this as of recently, has been growth, healing in the process, in the movements of understanding what needs to be done. You get what I'm saying? Like
I
that.
do.
That's the spaces I've been in. You know what I'm saying? I've been mediating between Frosty and her daughter Amber the last 2 Thursdays, and I'm telling you, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. We dived into the inner child conversation on live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was dope. It was a dope
I love
experience.
that conversation.
It was a dope experience, bro. Yep, yep, yep. It was a dope experience. So I'm enjoying honestly, and what's crazy is a lot of people. I realize I'm enjoying this coaching shit. I love it. I'm enjoying it because I see the growth. Now I see what Hormiga sees when people are starting to really open their eyes and realize like they can be the better version of themselves. I'm enjoying this 100%. I'm
I'm
having
glad.
so much
I'm
fun with
glad
it.
to hear you actually say that.
Like
You know,
I'm having so much fun with it.
yeah, I mean, but think about this. In order, let's talk about that a little bit about coaching. In order for you to be a coach, you have to enjoy everything. You have to find a way to enjoy even the things that are not enjoyable.
Good morning, sis. What's up, Jade?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to find comfort in everything you do because even the things that are difficult, you should be happy because you know that this is going to contribute to your growth. And
Right.
this is where you get foresight. The difference between foresight
What's
and
up, Philly?
hindsight is the word before. Before foresight means that you know what's going to happen.
Right.
Not because you're a magician or you have a clairvoyance to yourself, but because you've had enough experience to figure out that if you keep going that route, this is what's going to happen. And then you have hindsight, right? Look at the words. Behind, hindsight means that you're going to do something after the fact. Before means that you're going to do something before it happens. So which one is it? So
Yeah,
there's a
before.
proactivity, right?
Right.
Being proactive is being in foresight, right? And then not proactive procrastination, delay, excuses, and pointing fingers is in the hindsight. You're doing something after something happens, but you don't have the discipline and the responsibility to avoid these things, so you will never be in foresight. Here we go.
I'm gonna let that sit there.
I'm gonna say that again. You know why? Because there was a lot of words. Let me give it to you in simple words.
Go for it.
If you are in foresight, that means before it happens. That means that you are in tune. That means that you see things developing as it's developing. It doesn't have to happen first
Right.
before you do something about it. That would be hindsight, you're behind. You're behind the ball. But if you want to be ahead of the ball, then you're in foresight. That's awareness. That's living in the now. And then the hindsight is the procrastination, the excuses, and everything else that comes with you not getting to where you need to be. There's no real growth in hindsight because if you stay in hindsight, you're waiting for something to happen. That's not proactive.
That's true. And I'm gonna give you that. And as we're talking about hindsight and foresight, it goes right into this conversation that we're about to have. Toxic relationships. Lord Jesus. Here we are.
Toxic relationships.
When you guys hear toxic relationships, minus the romantic, because that's the first thing that you guys run to when you hear toxic relationships. What do you guys think of? Besides the romantic, because we're gonna dive into the romantic, but besides the romantic, when you hear toxic relationships, what else comes to mind?
Come on, guys, throw some words in there. Throw some words in there. Let's participate in what's going on because this could be interactive here. Let's participate. What do you
Well,
ask them again?
family,
Ask them again.
mutual respect, family. I see a lot of family, so that means
Ask them one more time for the ones that was sipping coffee when you was talking.
let's really like dig in there a little bit. Dig in there a little bit. Outside of like the norm, family, relationships,
Friendship, children,
friendships,
friends and
right?
family,
Children,
disrespectful,
family.
lack of respect.
Let's use our vocabulary a little bit more. Let's like dive into your vocabulary a little bit.
Somebody in the comments is hitting a couple of nice things. You see, the
Right.
thing is that when we think about
No,
toxic
when you get
relationships,
trauma,
we start
bosses,
describing people. We don't just start describing the toxicity. We don't describe the toxicity. We describe the people.
co-workers. Okay. Lay, welcome in. Turk, what's good, bro? What about manipulation, guys?
Oh man, let, let me take a sip of my power water. If you're gonna do this, please.
What about control? What about consistent negativity?
Lack of respect.
Isolation?
Mm-mm.
The imbalance of power?
Ooh, projection.
Callous? Jade said callous. That's dope. I like that. Callous, yes.
Callous. That's one of the highest petties.
That is the highest petty.
Being
Parents?
callous. Yeah. That's what
Okay.
that's taking it there, like over there, like way over
That's
there.
like way up there. Like if you dealt with somebody that has that type of behavior,
And hold
Lord,
up a second, let's talk about callous. Callous is not a person that has the "it is what it is" mentality. That's even higher than the person that says, "I don't give a flying flower."
that's it.
When you're callous, you're like the highest level of asshole. That's what I talk about in my book. The highest level of being an asshole, the total DICK.
So since I wanna get the relationship aspect out the way. I wanna get that conversation out the way. Because I know that's usually the thing that people run into.
Parents. Oof, watch it.
That one we're definitely gonna dive into because a lot of us don't realize we're toxic with our kids.
Oh man.
A lot of us don't realize that we're toxic with our kids.
Should I hit on with what we talked about yesterday? The little bridge.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dun, 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 dun. In order to be in a toxic relationship, both parties have to have a sense of toxicity. That's number one. Number
Okay.
two, number two. Everybody talks about the toxicity in the relationship with somebody else, but nobody has said where is the self toxicity? When are you being toxic to yourself? Nobody's talking about that relationship. We can't talk about our parents, our mates, our co-workers, our children, or our moms until we recognize the toxicity within ourselves.
And what? Yes, yes,
Somebody
y'all.
said self, so if you said self, I'll give you credit for it. I didn't see it.
If you
Not,
say stuff, we'll give you credit for that.
we'll give you credit, but not enough people are starting in the core or the origin of where toxicity begins. Because just because you're in a relationship with someone, anyone, you're gonna say they're toxic. But how toxic are you that you're tolerating it? Are you enabling that toxicity to continue, or are you gonna put your foot down and say you are actually rubbing my standards and boundaries the wrong way?
Now think about this, right? If we're on the level of relationship toxicity or toxic relationships, in the romantic aspect, think about a person that tries to control you or tries to manipulate your reactions, feelings, the way that you actually respond to certain things versus the way that you should respond,
Or a better response.
or give them a better response, or understanding, or a response that will allow you to enable your boundaries. Here I said enable, not put your boundaries in place, but enable your boundaries.
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you
Flipping
are
the
you
switch. You
let
flip the
me ask you,
switch,
let
boom,
me ask you a
boundary.
question. Are you saying, and I just said it, but are you saying that enabling toxicity is toxic behavior?
It can be, absolutely. But then you got to also understand too, like sometimes when you're enabling the toxic behavior, you're more so reflective of yourself.
That's possible. What I was getting at is there's two types of manipulation. There are people that like manipulation. Let me say that one more time. There are people that like manipulation, right?
Okay,
But then there are people that don't know that they're being manipulated. They're not
we spoke
aware.
about that. Yeah, we
So
spoke
there's
about
two
that.
different types of manipulation. There's straight up, I'm a manipulator and I'm gonna find a way to be more clever to get control of you, to take the power away from you, right? And then
Mhm.
there's the one where people actually can see and know that their partner or their person or the conversation that they're having, what the intentions are, and they still stay there. So there's awareness, and then there's behind your back.
So are you saying the people that are aware that they're being manipulated are just sitting there and just allowing it to happen, and they're not trying to get out of it,
I
or they
guess
or they just don't have the encouragement and the energy to push away from that situation?
all of the above, because now we're talking about the highest level of that, which is the trauma bond, right?
Hmm.
When you're in the trauma bond, and you're being love bombed, when you're in a situation, and we all agree that that's an addiction, right? When you are in the middle of an addiction, you're gonna find a way to keep that addiction alive because it's easier to keep going that direction than it is to fight it because some people are just not combatant. See, this is the thing that people say, you gotta stop the fight. And then other people are saying, you got to fight for your right. You got to pick and choose your battles.
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Do it.
Possessiveness.
Oh, man.
Now imagine this, right? And I'm sure we've all been there because I've been.
You said possessiveness, right?
I said it, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna push it into another aspect of it, right? So imagine being with somebody that no matter what the situation is, whether it's good or bad, they make it seem like you're theirs, no matter what, good or bad. Even if you try to
You
leave,
belong
they're
to me.
there.
You belong to me. You belong to
You
me.
belong to me. You're mine.
You're
Nobody.
right.
I don't care who it is. I don't care how happy you are with this person. I'm gonna find a way to ruin it.
So wait a minute. Is that kind of the same thing as saying, if not me, nobody?
Yeah. They find a way to take control of everything that is happy for you, that brings you joy, that brings you positive energy, that brings you anything that has love and light in it. They try to find a way to ruin it.
Has anybody in the chat ever heard somebody say, if you're not going to be with me, then you're not going to be with anybody? That
I'm
is the
sure.
highest level of possession, isn't it? Because some men, here goes, I'm going to attack the men. Some men have this thing where they don't know the difference, but there is a difference, but they use it in the wrong context. It's like, I'm not jealous, I'm territorial.
I hate that. And I don't even like whole time. I don't even like using the word hate. I dislike that. But in this aspect, yes, I hate that shit. That
Well,
shit, like that, like
well, let's look at
what is that?
let's look at jealousy and envy, right?
Like, what?
Let's look at jealousy and envy, because to tell you the truth, a man that is confident and a man that is aware has to be territorial. And I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you, why. Because I'm all right. All right. I'm a life coach, but I'm a business consultant, right? All in one. Um, your life is your business. Everybody has a business. Everybody's born with a business, and that's your life. Your life is your business, and you must mind your business, because this is, what's the name of the show? Mind your
Monumental.
mental. So you have to mind your business. Now look at this mind your business thing. Mind your business. Stay out of everybody's pockets. Same thing, right? Mind your business. It's not a bad thing. If I tell you, mind your business, some people take that offensively. What do you mean mind your business? Mind your business. I am minding my business by telling you to mind your business. Because you're part of my business, because you're part of my circle too.
Right.
So again, when someone tells you to mind your business, that could be the greatest advice that you are ignoring. Even when you're young and someone tells you, hey, mind
Well,
your business, that's one of the first advice that we ignore, which is one of the best advice that you can get. Mind your business. So if your business is your life, I know what's out there. I know how people, behave. I go to functions. I've seen the evil eye of the people that are scheming on your guy or your girl or your wife or your husband or your kids or your parents, and they scheme on your
well,
friends too, right? People
right.
out there trying to take your friends, not because they want your friends, but they don't want you to have them.
Yo,
So
I
again, now, wait a minute. Again, let's go back to that. So we talked about earlier. If I can't have you, I don't want nobody. That's what's wrong. If I can't have you, I don't want nobody. Baby, toxic. The other way is, if I can't have you, nobody can. Toxic.
no, that's toxic as hell. That that shit is the highest level of toxicity you could possibly come across. And that just doesn't go for romantic relationships. It goes for friendships, it goes for family ships.
We got to
It
time
could,
out. We got to time out. Somebody said, Mom used to say, sweep your own porch. Okay, that's what we're doing. Thank you.
I'm here for it. I'm
Woo,
here
sweep your
for
own
it.
porch.
Keep your own porch. You gotta clean your own mess.
Woo, let's get messy. Come
You
on.
gotta clean your own mess. Like you can't. All right. And what's wild is in romantic relationships, right? When we deal with the toxicity and we finally get out of that, right? And you're in a better light, right? Why don't you guys do that for your friendships? You guys are quick to do it for your relationships, right? I don't want to be with this person that's toxic. Is bringing my energy down. Is bringing my happiness down. Is doing this. Is doing that. But when it comes to your friendships, you guys don't want to do that.
Well, you know
You
why?
guys don't apply the same energy getting out of your romantic relationships to your friendships.
So do you understand why?
It's another trauma bond.
And we take our friendships more for granted than anything else because we always feel as though they're always going to be there. No matter what, I got your back. No, that's not true.
That's not true. I'm sorry. Like, I can love you from a distance.
I cannot love you at all.
That too. Like I got love for everybody, right? I got love for everybody, whether you did me wrong or not. But I can love you from a distance. You can go eat. You can eat at a table. You're just not eating at my table. And that's my favorite saying. I want you to eat. I want you to succeed. I want you to be successful in life. You're just not gonna do it at my table.
That's true. Just because you're not in my circle doesn't mean that I won't feed you. But
That
we're
part.
just not eating in the same table.
Yep.
So listen to that, guys. Everybody who's paying attention. It's not about alienating people and just pushing them away. We still have a moral obligation and humanity to give when the opportunity presents itself. Now, we can't get upset if the other person is not receiving this information or not working with us or rolling with us. We can't. You know why? Because then we're going to get upset more often than we should because not everybody is going to accept that. That's part of coaching. Coaching is knowing that you're going to put the information out there. If they bite, then you reel them in. But if they're not biting your bait, either your bait sucks or they're just not ready, one or the other. So improve in the bait and improve in your patience and prudence, and it'll come to you.
You're good, Mama G. You're good. You're good. No worries. Um, I'm thinking on where I want to go with this. So let's talk about the signs of a toxic relationship in the romantic aspect, right? Because I know we're kind of all over the place, guys, but they're kind of tying together.
Mhm.
We already bought the manipulation and control, right? One person's consistently trying to control the other actions, feelings, or decisions that you make. Let's stop there. Let's stop there,
That
right?
was a
Let's
lot.
let's let's stop there because that right there is huge, huge. Because for the longest time, for a long period of time, especially in a relationship, a romantic relationship, it happens for years. It doesn't just happen. It's not a one-off type of situation. It happens for years and years and years. And unless the other person is understanding of what's going on, they don't realize they're being manipulated and controlled. They think that person actually fucking loves them. Mama G said it in the chat. Love bombing.
Well, manipulation is not a tactic that's done with advice. It's not done with a precursor. It's not done with a warning.
There's no blueprint to it.
Right. So, in other words, right away, you should know that a person's intentions are not correct when you are aware. Once you are aware that a person is trying to manipulate you, they're not coming from a good place. What else do you need to know to do something about that?
What did I say 2 Saturdays ago? If you guys remember, when I said that a manipulator doesn't need to know your blueprint, they just pay attention to everything that you do.
But that's okay because we give them the blueprint anyway. We're the ones that give them all the ammunition that they need. They don't even have to do the work. We do it for them.
No, they know, yeah. But there is often times where we really don't give them much, but they're really good at behavioral. You're paying attention to people's behaviors and actions and the way that you move, that they start understanding who you are as a person. So they start to create what they need to create in their heads to start manipulating you.
It's kind of like that break you down to pick you up, or that pick you up to break you down.
Pick you up to break you down. That's what a manipulator does.
They do both. A
Okay.
manipulator can
You
find a
good?
way. A manipulator is going to find a way to infiltrate, like a germ, right? A germ needs a host in order to continue to exist, right? But believe it or not, and I'm not making this up, a germ likes to get into your body undetected so that it can do the damage and go further into you before you do something about it.
That's true. That's
Or,
true.
or recognize that you've been germalized or germatized. Is that a word?
I don't
We
know, but
made a word. We
it's
made a
gonna be
word.
a word today.
We made a word. You've been germalized.
You've been Germanized, guys. Hashtag Germanized in the chat. But you've been Germanized. We're gonna use that word for the rest of the day.
And how do you remove germs and pus and things that are growing in your body? You need the antibiotic, right? But here's the thing: if you take care of yourself, you won't let those germs in because your immune system, which is your defense shield, is paying attention. Because you didn't drop. People say, "I'm going to drop the gloves. I'm going to stop being defensive." Okay, stop being defensive. But why do you lose your awareness when you lose your defense?
Not Fabuloso and Vince. I'm
Did you
weak.
hear that? Did you hear that? How do you lose your defense and your awareness at the same time? You put your guards down. You say, okay, you know what? I'm going to give this a
That's
chance.
crazy.
I'm going to give this a chance, right? I'm going to put my guards down, right? Your guards down doesn't mean to get rid of your common sense and your awareness. When people put their guards down, they're like, go ahead, slap me. Go ahead, generalize me. Go ahead, do whatever it is that you're going to do to me. No, I'm going to put my guards down so that I can listen to understand, not listen to respond.
No
But I'm
fact.
going to keep my awareness at all times. Your awareness needs to be on at all times.
I'm listen to this, right? And tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. The antibiotics to a toxic relationship is self-love, is understanding the person that you're with, knowing the person that you're with, right? Knowing thyself, self-love, determination, self-discovery, self-accountability, and boundaries, standards. Y'all keeping up with me? The
I,
antibiotic to a toxic relationship: self-love, boundaries, standards, knowing thy person.
right. And remember that if you're in the antibiotic zone, that means that it's already happening. See, this is what you do when it's happening. But you don't really need antibiotics if you avoid it, if you're disciplined enough to see it before it happens, if you are aware and in tune with yourself before it happens, it won't happen because three ways to do it. You can prevent it, you could be in it, and it could already happen. So you understand what I'm saying?
And also, stop ignoring your intuition, people. Like, I don't understand this. Like, it bothers me a little bit. It really does. Because we all have intuition. Man and woman alike, we all have intuition. Why are you ignoring your intuition? If something doesn't seem right or feel right in your gut, 9 out of 10 times it's not right. Like, you know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Like, if your intuition, if your body is not responding to what's going on in front of you, whether it be verbal, physical, mental, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's something that your body's just not recognizing, it's not feeling it. Why are you ignoring the responses? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you ignoring that response that your body's giving you? Your body knows you very well. Nobody, like, you're supposed to listen to your body. Just like when you're really tired, you listen to your body, you take your ass to sleep. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same aspect for other things as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta pay attention to that stuff. Like, your intuition is usually on point. Like, it's on point. If something seems off, Listen to yourself.
Yeah. So, let me add. Let me add.
Yourself, yo,
Let me add.
yourself is
Let
not
me
gonna
add to
lie to
that.
you. Yourself
Yes.
is not gonna lie to you. Your actual self is not gonna lie. That's why when they say the answer is always within you, it's because it is. Do you know what I'm
Now,
saying? It's because it is. So if your body's telling you, "Oh, I'm near this person, but I don't really like how they're doing this," or "What they, I'm not really feeling it," or you feel that your chest getting tight and your body feels a little cold, or when you're around this person, it's because your intuition is kicking in and it's telling you to move the fuck out the way. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get the aspect of wanting to help others and going above and beyond for others, but not in the not within yourself. Like, you have to put yourself first in that aspect. When your body starts to be like, oh, I don't like how this is feeling. I don't like how this is. I don't like this. If your body's telling you that and you're ignoring your body, you're doing your body a disservice.
all
You're
right.
doing yourself a
That's the
disservice.
key right there. The key. You said the key. The key is ignore. You see, here's it is. Now we're not telling you that every time you feel something in your stomach that to go with it, because that could be because you ate a burrito that's not agreeing with you. So what we're saying is you're going to be wrong sometimes too. Your intuition is what you think is your intuition. It's not your intuition, but most times you're going to be right, right? But don't feed all the way into that because you still have to have an eye open, at least one eye open, that you could be wrong, that this could you could be making more out of it than you need to. So here's the thing: once you find the information to either debunk it or agree with it, let it go because you go down the rabbit hole of wanting so badly to be right that you end up losing relationships by doing that.
Are you saying overthinking with your mouth? Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely, and then that's the same thing as diarrhea with the mouth.
Yeah, that's Lord Jesus. Like Lord Jesus.
What are we doing? It's 9:42, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not waiting till 10 o'clock. Please tap that screen, share the live. Let's have some fun, but let's learn in the process. Let's go.
Oh, can we talk about the isolation?
You should. I just want people to understand that the more weapons you have, intuition, in tune,
Yeah.
awareness, growth, being humble, all those are skills, believe it or not. Because we're born with certain things, but we're not born with everything. There's things that we have to get rid of in our life. We have to take the band-aid off certain things that we didn't address well. And there are things that we grew into because of the generational curses, because of the hamster wheel, because of the environments, because of the circle that we keep. So here's the thing: we try to fix things by adding things and not removing things. We have to remove the things that are not working with us, but people want to grow on top of that without having to deal with that. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to come right back to that. That's where the shadow work comes in, right? You're going to have to come right back to that, regardless of how well you succeed, no matter how good you are at mastering, I guess is the word. When you mask things, brushing it under the table, brushing it under the rug, no matter how well you do that, it will come back to slap you in your ass. I promise you.
So I wanna just keep in mind, guys, right? When you're going through your aspect of working on yourself, the best thing that you can do is rehash the things that caused you the grief, the trauma, the triggers, right? But not in the sense of trying to remove them, right? We're not trying to remove the triggers, traumas. We're trying to understand them so that way you could better utilize your information and the knowledge that you've learned to control them. It's not to remove them. You'll never remove the triggers or traumas. It's with you. It's always going to be with you. My traumas and triggers are always with me. But at the end of the day, I've managed to be able to control them because I know what it can do to me if I don't. So I've created ways to understand myself so that way I can manage and control my triggers. Now, let's take it a step further. The things that you've learned, right, in your past time, in your past life, you can always go back and readjust it if you've learned something new. You don't have to unlearn it, right? I know we talk about unlearning things and unlearning things. You don't have to unlearn it. You can readjust it. If somebody taught you something that didn't seem right and you realize it didn't seem right now, you can go back and readjust it
But Uncle
versus
Teddy,
just
but Uncle Teddy,
unlearning.
Uncle Teddy, how do you go back and fix something that already happened? Isn't it too late, Teddy?
It's never too late.
Why?
It's never too late because that door is always going to be open.
And we are still living right now.
Yeah, that door is always going to be open
As
unless
long
you're
as
not
you're
here
still alive,
anymore.
right? As long as you're
Unless
still alive.
unless you're not here anymore, then that is different, right? Unless you're unalived, you're not here anymore. But we're still living. I can still feel myself. I can still, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I'm not unalived yet, guys. I'm still here. I can still
but
feel.
let's not get that twisted. Just because you are alive doesn't mean that you are living, and just because you're living doesn't mean that you're alive. Oh,
Ooh, okay.
Jesus Christ.
Say that again for the people in the back, because I don't think they heard you.
Just because you're alive, it doesn't mean that you're living, and just because you're living doesn't mean you're alive. And it doesn't matter how you say it, because it's the same thing. Like, in other words, if you always focus and you have the fear of unaliving, then you're not living. You will never be able to enjoy this moment that we're having right now if you're always worried about the future and you're always coming from the past. The past is ego and pride, and the future is what causes anxiety. So we're already preparing ourselves to be anxious before the anxiety even hits. So if you're not living, right? If you are living doesn't mean that you are alive, and if you are alive, it doesn't mean that you are living.
That's deep. That's deep. That right there is deep. And that kind of ties into isolation, right? Because when you're isolated from person, place, or things, right? You're not living. They're alive, but you're not living. Now, when it's a person isolating you from the place and the place, the person, place, or thing, now you're alive, but you're living for them. Think about that.
And that's not living.
Think about that one.
And that's not living at all.
When another human being isolates you from a person, place, or thing, you're alive, you're living, but you're living for them. You're not living for you. Let that sink in as we're here, right? As we're in this moment. Like, let's sit in this moment. Because I had to do the same thing with Amber and Frosty on Thursday. We had to sit in the moment of the inner child, right? Let's sit in that same moment, right? Let's be in that moment of being in that situation, right? Because I was in that situation. And I didn't know left from right. I didn't know left from right. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't really know how to operate until something clicked in my head, and a conversation that I had with somebody that I deeply cared about opened my eyes. It was like, and made me realize what the fuck I was dealing with and why I allowed myself to be stuck in this situation for 2 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a hard moment to swallow, man. It was a hard pill to swallow. My boy Gorilla King in the building. What's going on, man?
You ain't lying,
Uh,
bro.
think about that though.
You ain't lying.
Think about the moment that you were in, or if you aren't in that moment, or you dealt with that moment where you were living, you're alive, but you're not living for yourself. You're living for the person that you're with, because they manipulated and they controlled the environment and the relationship so deeply that you felt like only thing that you had to live for was for them.
Damn. I think it's time for a punch in the stomach. Ready?
Go for it.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys two things. If if you're in a relationship and you do everything for the relationship, it doesn't matter what it is. Sister, brother, son, mother, job, right? Your mate. If you are the type to do more for them than you do for yourself, you're toxic. Number one. Number two, here's how it looks like for parents. If you're busy saying that you made a lot of sacrifices for your kids when those are the things that you're supposed to be doing, you're toxic as fuck.
That yeah, that phrase is crazy.
Those men that say, "But I buy Pampers, but I buy milk, I even babysit my kid," you toxic
It's fuck.
because that comes with the responsibility of bringing a child into this world. You understand what I'm saying? So, in other words, use that to your advantage both ways towards your kids and pulling away from your parents in the areas where you don't need that to keep existing. Because we become our parents unless we do something about it. The generational curses continue because we find comfort or we give up. If you can't beat them, join them. We become our parents unless we do something about it. There are going to be things that our existence, our environments that we're not going to be able to let go. There's going to be things that is embedded in us so deep that you will not be able to remove it. So instead of removing it, maybe you need to start learning how to utilize
I'm not sure, Molly. So Black Butterfly actually wrote something. I gotta go back and read it.
that.
She said the mother in me wants to take care the mother in me wants to take care of others before myself.
That's the nurturer.
It has nothing to do with the mother in you. It's just your nurturing behavior and then your nurturing habits. It has nothing to do with your mothering nature. Because I'm a nurturer as well, which is why I became a coach.
Yeah. And then here comes the punch in the stomach. Here comes the punch in
But
the
but but this is where standards and boundaries come into play. You can't help everybody. As much as you want to, you cannot help everybody. It's impossible, right? To help every single person. It's not something that makes sense. It because what's gonna happen is you're gonna keep pouring, you're gonna keep pouring, you're gonna keep pouring. That pitcher, it's gonna keep filling up. You know, you're pouring into their pitcher. But as you're pouring into their pitcher, your pitcher's going down. And and you keep going down. And next thing you know, your pitchers start having holes. Now it's time for you to pour into yourself. What's happening? Water's going in, coming out the holes. You're not filling yourself up. There's no filling up while you're doing that. There's nothing there. So all that work that you're doing after you've helped 20 other people, like you know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing there.
I was trying to make a video before this live so I could refer people to the video. I'm gonna give you a little content on this video. Here's what people are not understanding. We hurt people by different ways. It's not just like me saying, "Hey Teddy, you're a blank blank blank." It's not me grabbing Teddy and throwing him across the street. It's not me not being there for Teddy when he needed me. It's not that. When we don't take care of ourselves for the people that care about us, we're hurting them because they're seeing us in our misery. They're seeing us having difficulties. They're seeing us go about things in ways that is not conducive, that is not productive. So you could inadvertently hurt the people around you by you not taking care of yourself. So if you care about other people, you're already hurting them by putting them before you. By putting them before you, you're not helping them because you're training them to rely on you.
Codependency.
You're creating a dependency, but that's because you want to put yourself in a high value. You want to be needed. In order for you to function, you have to be needed. But the thing is that you're not putting any effort into needing yourself.
Could that be a narcissistic trait?
That could be the beginning.
Or the yeah, that
That's a very common thing. No, nobody's immune to that. We all been through that. You know?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, is that like either is that in the aspect or is like falling into the range? Like it's kind of like diving
I think narcissistic is down the road. A lot more things have to happen before we get into that. I think that this is just really normal, everyday conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
me personally, I've always said this. In my circle, if everybody's doing good in my circle, then I'm doing fine. Because now I don't have to attend to your bullshit. Because you're attending to your own stuff. If you are attending your own stuff, I don't have to stop what I'm doing to attend something that you refuse to attend or you refuse to address. So we hurt people many ways when we talk down to ourselves. Doesn't it hurt you when I'm frustrated?
Ain't nothing else to say after that. Well, what do you say after that? You know what I'm saying?
The
Like,
truth is that I'm frustrated when you're frustrated. I'm frustrated when the people around me are frustrated. It hurts because we don't want you to go through this, especially if we see you going through some fluffy shit that you could have avoided, or you could actually be doing a better job at handling it. Because if you didn't catch it, it's in you. You've been germinalized.
I want to and understand this too, right? Sometimes the quietness is the most important thing. And I don't think people understand how important being quiet is. I don't think people understand it. Gorilla King, we're gonna let people up at 10:30, bro. I got you.
Help people understand that
We're going.
because is this the STFU version of being quiet, or it's just being in silence?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Is it because you want to shut up or because you are in silence? Because there's a difference between shutting the hell
You
up.
you learn a lot in the silence. You learn a lot, especially when somebody's expressing themselves. Sometimes and often, right? We want to verbalize how we're feeling towards the situation, right? But if you sit and I learned this Thursday watching Frosty and Amber, right? Because I'm still new to the coaching stuff. Sitting in the silence and listening and feeling the moment that person's in when they're trying to express how they're feeling or what they're going through, especially when they're overwhelmed, you learn a lot more. You feel them, you understand them more because you're not trying to add yourself into the conversation. You're just focusing on them. The focus is on them. And that's in a positive way, not in a negative way, in a positive way. Like hear me when I'm saying this. Sometimes just sitting there and not giving somebody information or advice is the advice. Because sometimes sitting there with them, sitting in the moment with them for the time being, not being fluffy, but at least just being human, just sitting in the moment with them and letting them let it out. Sometimes that's what they need. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes that's what they need. They don't need you to tell them anything. They don't need you to give them advice. They don't need you to tell them how you feel about the situation. So, half of the time, they really don't give a fuck. They just want you to listen.
Let me give you an example, real quick. An example. I just came from Puerto Rico with some of my friends, right? And me and my friends got into a conversation. And then there was just me and one friend, right? One of my brothers. And he had a lot to say. Blah, 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 right? I stood quiet. He's like, you don't have nothing to say? And I said, you said it all. Did you listen to yourself? You said it all. You said everything that needed to be said. There was nothing else that I can say. But you need to start learning how to listen to yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to give someone that space to listen to themselves by being quiet.
Yeah. You like when I said earlier you learn a lot about yourself from yourself? That's another aspect of learning a lot about yourself from yourself. Is having an individual who's not biased, right? Who's not biased. Let me put that in there as a disclaimer. So you got to put somebody in there that is not biased and that is not gonna sugarcoat or fluffy the shit that you're trying to tell them,
Or the
right?
wrong.
They're gonna sit in the moment with you, which is okay, right? Because that's being human. That's loving the person that that's loving your person or your friend or your family or whoever it is by sitting in that moment with them. That's how much you love them. You're sitting in that moment with them. But the moment you open your mouth and try to make them feel like a victim, you're doing them a disservice. They don't want to feel like a victim, which is why they're expressing what they're expressing to you. They don't want to feel like a victim. They want you to hear what they're saying and understand how they're feeling. They don't want to be a victim. Just because they're in an emotional and they're in an emotional feeling or they're in an emotional state doesn't mean that they're a victim. I think that's another thing that people kind of misconstrue with the word victimizing or victim. They wanna equate it to emotional, like in an emotional stance or somebody expressing themselves. Sometimes just expressing yourself is expressing yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes just expressing yourself is expressing yourself. They don't want to feel like a victim in that moment. The second you try to fluffy what they're saying or try to give them that moment, you make them a victim. They don't want to hear that shit. They just want you to listen. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just want you to listen and they want you to understand where they're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I got to say to that. I ain't got it.
I got something for that.
Go for it.
I got something for that.
Hey,
There is
Fluffy,
there is a difference between pity and empathy and sympathy.
take it there.
So pity, people are not looking for pity. Even if they are looking for pity, you should
All
never
right, I
give
got
it.
you. Go ahead and come up and do the commercial break real quick before Hormiga finishes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I know Hormiga's going to take it there.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah. So go ahead, come up. You should be able to come up anyway. I don't know if it's going to let you. Yeah.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 10:03. We have till 12 o'clock. We have a 50K like go. It is time for breakfast. We have sausage links, some motherfucking hash browns, some pancakes, some coffee, milk, juice, whatever drink you like. If you want to eat some breakfast and be part of the family, tap the mother screen like you tap the motherfucking bean. And if you don't know what that means, you too young for this live, bruh. Love y'all. Please tap the screen. You're obviously enjoying the conversation. Tap the screen like you tap the bean, just like you enjoy tapping the bean. Enjoy tapping the screen. Thank you. Bye.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You never know what you're going to get when you come up here, guys. Just
You
know
might
that.
get you might get the bean.
You might get the
Uh,
boom. And if you guys do enjoy what we do here, hit that. You see that star right there where it says 18 out of 19? Join the family. Join the family. Be a part of the monumental family and subscribe. You know, and then just let's build the community up. We have 312 people here. You know what I'm saying? If we want to add some more people to that subscriber list, I do have some incentives for you guys coming up. I'm working on some stuff for you guys. So join the family. And if you haven't joined the Discord yet, please hit the link tree. Check my link tree. Hit the link in the bio. Hit the link in the bio. Hit the link for the book. Grab Monumental. And if you're grabbing Monumental, make sure you're grabbing Living Above the Norm. Because they go hand in hand. I promise you they do. There you go. They go hand in hand. Okay. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I don't know if my Twitter is activated, but we're not even gonna go there. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Monumental 24 on Instagram, Monumental Group on Facebook, and it's Monumental at Monumental Live on Facebook. So make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe. It is free to subscribe on those 2 pages or 3 pages, and over here it's just $2.99. It's less than your breakfast. It's less than your coffee. But go ahead, brother.
Okay. If you do not have your pen and paper out right now, you're gonna miss this, no matter how slow I say this. Sympathy is closer to pity. Empathy is understanding someone while not having the same problems. Because a lot of people get this twisted, and people love to argue because they're just argumentative. Empathy is what you feel never been through it or not going through it. Not going through it at the same time or never been through it is the empathy. People say, but how? How could someone have empathy for someone or feelings for someone if they've never been through it? That's just a human thing. That's a humility thing. That's a humble thing. That's a humanized thing. Now, here's the thing. Is pity and sympathy the same thing? Sympathy does not always call for action. Sympathy is not always a call for action. Sympathy is not always a call for action, right?
Take it further.
It does show understanding and concern for another person's suffering and misfortune. But pity is a feeling of superiority that demeans those for whom it's felt. Pity is a feeling of superiority that demeans those for whom it's felt. It does not lead to any helpful behavior. I pity the fool that doesn't mind their mental. I pity the fool that doesn't mind the mental. Because if you're not minding your mental, I could only pity you. Because now we're both on the same page.
That part.
And I'm going to leave it there because we could go deeper into that. But pity could also be condescending.
And I just want to keep it clear, like this is the information that we have to put out in regards to this is not something that can be done in one live. Just want to give you guys that insight. This is not just going to be one live. This is going to be a few lives. we're gonna have to do a part 2 and a part 3 to this, because even the conversation of just a relationship we can literally do one live just on that alone, right? And then we still have the toxic families and the toxic friendships, the toxic work environment. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. There's no way that we're gonna stuff this into one live. So just be mindful of that. We're gonna see a few episodes of this.
Yeah, and the only reason why I went into that is because I wanted to enlighten people that pity could be a trigger, right?
Right.
Because when you say like when you say I'm sorry to someone, you're really telling them how you're imagining them being. You understand what I'm saying? So you might have to say, instead of saying I'm sorry to someone, like I'm sorry you're going through this, why don't you say, damn, I can't possibly imagine what you're going through. Be honest about your approach to people. Stop acting like you know it all. Stop acting like
you've been here.
stop acting like you've had every single experience known to mankind, regardless if you have or not. Regardless if you have the experience to go with it, stop acting like you know.
You know, and
Know,
the
know
reason
what
why
you
we say that, right? So let's take it a little step further, right? So even if you've been in that situation, that person is experiencing what you've experienced, right? Take yourself out of the equation. Take your experiences out of the equation. Because the second you say, oh my God, I know what you've been through, I've been there too, you completely invalidate everything that they told you. You completely invalidated every single thing that they just told you. Because now you made yourself the point of the conversation versus sitting there and what did I say? The Thursday I did the false behavior, false blueprinting. Sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just me being honest, right? Because we don't do no fluffy shit over here. My language is my language. Like, sometimes you just gotta shut the fuck up. Putting your 2 cents in it, even though you know you experienced what you experienced, invalidates what they're trying to tell you. Completely invalidates everything that they told you. All the experiences that they expressed to you, the emotions behind everything that they told you, right? You just gotta move out the way. Like, don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why instead of giving them a relaxing and relative, yeah, right. So yeah, those behaviors can be habitual, absolutely. And in regards to just putting yourself in the moment in that situation, right? It can definitely do that. There's definitely be a definitely habitual for sure. But it's you learn eventually. You learn how to not do it, right? It's just if that's something you really want to learn, like not putting yourself in that situation, not putting yourself in the moment, and just listening and being that shoulder at the moment. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people would like to, try to be like, they try to put themselves in it so that way you can console them in a sense, but really, honestly, you're not consoling them. You're invalidating everything that they're saying. Because if you think about it this way, right? I'll give you a prime example. Let's say that me and Hormiga have, like, for example, me and Hormiga had a conversation through text about me kind of like going back and reflecting on certain things that I was going through and not realizing that he was going through the same situation, right? So as he was doing that, I stopped what I was about to write and I didn't validate myself in the situation. I stopped and I listened and I waited for him to respond. And I let him say what he needed to say. And then I let him let it out without responding to what he was about to write. I just let him text it. And then I sat there and I listened. And then the only thing that I asked him was, "What are you doing about it?" That's it. That's all it was. And then he gave me the response, and then we changed the conversation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't me putting myself in it. It wasn't me adding
Yep.
myself to it. It wasn't me doing any of that. It was just more so just listening, reading what he wrote, letting him get it out because he clearly needed to get it out. And then I asked him, "What are you doing about it?" And then that was that. It wasn't more than that. It was no more than that. But it's the same aspect if you're sitting in front of, you know what I'm saying? It's there's the same thing when you're sitting in front of somebody and somebody's verbally letting you know how they feel. Like if they're letting something out that they've been wanting to express to you, but they didn't really know how because they feel like you're gonna judge them, or they feel like you're gonna put yourself in it because they've seen you do it before. They're not gonna want to be open with you. They're not gonna be want to open. They're not gonna want to open because they don't want to be invalidated. They don't want to feel like what they're gonna say don't mean nothing because you're gonna put yourself in it, or you're gonna give some type of response, remark, or whatever it is to what they're about to tell you. Sometimes sitting in the silence is your superpower.
Yeah. Let me shake the room a little bit so that because we're about to bring people up. So before you come up, I want you to think about what I'm about to say. I'm going to ask you a question, Teddy. You could give me one or three answers. It's up to you, but I need you to tell me the first things that come to your head. You ready?
Wow.
What type of person detests and hates pity the most?
What type of person detests or hates pity the most?
You're not going to believe it.
I don't know. That's a good question.
You ready, ladies and gentlemen? Should I say it?
Go for it, because you got me
The,
stumped.
the person that hates pity the most is the narcissist. Even though the narcissist is a self-centered person and wants all the attention that they don't want is either the attention that they don't want is pity, and to ignore them. Narcissists don't like to be ignored. They like to be addressed, but they hate pity. So what am I telling you? I'm not telling people to go out and pity all the narcissists that you know or you think you know. I'm not saying, but
Oh,
let it make sense.
you can, you can.
Let it make sense. Look, why a narcissist hate people when they feel sorry for them? Because you just totally debunked their whole game by saying, by telling a narcissist, "I feel sorry for you." You're telling them that there's something wrong with them.
You know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm gonna give you guys a great example. Think about all the Tyler Perry movies you've ever watched.
Oh, not the Tyler Perry, but go ahead,
Yes,
Madi.
we're gonna take it there, right? Because we all seen Tyler Perry movies, and Tyler Perry has the same uniform when it comes to all his movies. We all seen it, right? We watch Tyler Perry movies. So y'all notice every time the movie has a narcissist who's the man, and the woman finally builds up the strength, builds up the motivation, the confidence to leave the situation, and the famous that line is always used. I feel so sorry for you. You see how angry that man gets when she says that? I feel so sorry for you. I
You know,
pity you.
it starts like this. I'm not even angry. I feel sorry for you.
Yep.
When you can tell somebody, when you can tell a control freak or a person with narcissistic tendencies, um, when you can tell them, I'm going to tell you something emotionless, when you can, when you're going to say something emotionless, like, you know what? You're not worth hurting for. Remember what I told you that everybody in life is going to hurt you, but you have to pick the right people that are worth hurting for.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
don't think that people are going to hurt you, and this is what my video is about, everybody's going to hurt you, either directly or inadvertently, not because of what they did directly to you, but the way they carry themselves, because the way other people talk about them, the reputation that they carry, because of the decisions that they make, because they choose to keep themselves in a circle, in a hamster wheel. That's hurting people that care about you.
Especially if it's somebody that you're always or constantly around, and you see them moving like just like all right. So remember when I said that when somebody sees that you can do better for yourself or do good for yourself, and they say, I want to see better for you, I want to see you do better because I see that you can do better, and people take that as an attack or a critique, or they feel like they're attacking them. That's the same sense. When somebody says, I see better for you, I can see you doing better for yourself, I don't like the way that you're moving because I know that you can do better. That's not them attacking you, that's them showing that they love you. But in the same aspect, right? Think about it the way that he said it. When somebody's moving in a way that they're not supposed to be moving, and you see it, you haven't verbalized it, but you see it, it hurts because you care about that person.
Rewind a little bit. Rewind a little bit. Go back a little bit.
But where am I
Go,
going?
go like two sentences back if you can.
Well, in regards to
What you just said. Just go back to the contents of how we got here.
so I said in regards to somebody saying that they want to see better for you. You know what I'm saying? That you can do better for yourself.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Stop right there. If I tell a person, I want to see you do better, I know you could do better, here's what happens. That person feels ashamed. I need to say this, I'm going to say this like 4 times during this live. That person feels ashamed. But because they feel ashamed and they don't know how to deal with feeling ashamed, they feel like the messenger is shaming them. Because ashamed is the right way that you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel ashamed, meaning A, meaning me. I don't need nobody to shame me. I do a good job of shaming myself. That's number one. Number two, when we feel a certain way about ourselves, especially even during an epiphany, I could tell you the most profound thing on earth. But if it hits you, you're gonna feel like I'm shaming you. And that happens in this life all the time. Damn, Omega, I think you're talking to me. Are you talking to me? Like, wait a minute. How do you know this about me? You understand what I'm saying? No, it's not about that. You feel ashamed. But then you take the weight off of you shaming yourself by blaming the messenger and saying that you're shaming me. Let's get that right. When somebody says, I want better for you, I see you doing better. Come on, man. You got the skills to get out of this, man. I believe in you. That's telling the other person, damn, you know what? He's right. I could be doing better. Damn, I could do better, right? I could make better decisions, right? I didn't have to get into this in the first place, right? So again, let's stop creating a false narrative that people are shaming us when they're actually telling us stuff that we're supposed to hear. That's why I call the timeout on that.
I like that. I like that. That's smooth. That's smooth. I mean, it's the truth, though. It's the truth. It sounds good to us, right? It sounds good to us. Like, but for a person that's in it, they're not hearing those. They're not hearing those words. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds good to us, which is it's accurate information. But when people are in it, right? When they're in it, they're in that moment, they're not hearing that.
They can't.
They'll probably think of it after the fact, right? They'll think of it after the fact,
And that's hindsight. That's not foresight.
right?
That's waiting for something to happen yet again for you to do
Old
something.
Max in the building. What up, Lo?
Why are we always waiting for something to happen? That's that mentality that I keep telling you about. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. How many times do we have to cross this bridge?
Eventually, that bridge is gonna fall apart.
You're gonna be stuck on one or the other because then you don't understand that the bridge is the balance for you to go back and forth and use whatever is necessary in order to handle what you're going through at that moment.
Is your bridge the Brooklyn Bridge or the Washington Bridge?
Some bridges are like the bridge in Key West. It's like a 5 mile bridge.
Some people's bridges are like the Great Wall of China.
And some people's bridges are like the wall that never got built in the United States.
I was gonna take it. I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna take it there. Like, I was gonna say something else, but I'm not gonna take it there. I'm gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. We got 7 minutes until we let people up for questions. Keep in mind, please, people, let's keep the topic. Let's keep the questions pertaining to the topic at hand, please, because the recordings do go on YouTube, so we don't want everybody speaking on each other, talking over each other, because these are posted on YouTube. So, if we're coming up to ask questions, please refrain from interrupting folks. Mute yourself if you have background noise. Try to be in a quiet place if you can.
And if you want to be on the video and you're up here, if you say something that's off topic or something that's irrelevant, you will be edited. What could I tell you?
Yeah, I might edit you out, or one of my moderators might boot you out. Either or, I don't know. It's one or the other. I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't control what happens. My moderators are my moderators, and I respect their decisions based off what they do, because they keep this place safe. So, just to give you guys a heads up on that.
A toxic relationship. Okay, let's talk about energy a little bit before we bring people up, right? And
Right.
how much energy it takes for you to be toxic or to continue to stay in a toxic environment. It takes a lot of energy to be, it takes people are under the impression that it takes a lot of energy to be yourself,
Right.
but it takes no energy at all. Now, if you don't accept yourself and you're not happy with yourself, then you're going to be everybody else.
So, time out. Time out. Time out. Time out. We're not gonna do that. I see what you tried to do, and you're not. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. You got to give them more context to that. You got to give them more context to that, because you're not doing that. You're not gonna stop.
What did you get out of it?
Because when you said that it takes no energy, I want everybody to understand when he says it takes no energy, he's talking about when you're doing the work on yourself, when you've done the work on yourself, when you know yourself, it takes no energy.
That's the
That- that-
hindsight.
yes.
After the
That's
fact.
why I don't want everybody to get confused when he said they were like, huh? Like, what is he talking about? What is homemaker
Well,
saying right now?
okay, let me give him the basics then. Let me give him the basics.
Go ahead.
There's this argument about vibration and frequency because now everybody's a chakra master, everybody's into self mastery, everybody's a shaman, everybody's a deacon, everybody's everything, right? Like all of a sudden, they went to TikTok University and they got their degree in bullshitology. So, so, so here's the thing: the weight that we carry around, that doesn't mean you're being yourself. It's a part of you, but you don't have to carry that. So then, just carrying that weight around of unfinished business and untapped shadow work, you're carrying that weight around. That takes energy. What I was referring to more is about how people say that laughter and love is the highest vibration and frequency. No, that is the highest frequency that you're aware of. That is the highest frequency that you experience. But a higher frequency is being authentic and being genuine. And it's no vibration at all. The highest vibration doesn't even move because it doesn't take any energy to be yourself. But if you're going to be Jackie from 9 to 5, and you're going to be Jackie O from 5 to 8, and then you're going to be Jackie the third on Friday nights. We know what happens on Friday nights, right? And then Sunday you broke, and then Monday morning you Jackie again, and then to your kids you Jackie G, and then to your mother you Jackie P, and then to the person in the grocery store you're Jackie X. Then you're all these Jackies. Now let's take it to the men's side. In the morning you get up, you're a person. You're this person. The moment somebody talks to you, the moment that you get into a conversation, you become somebody else because you feel as though you got to address everybody differently. This whole conversation about meeting people where they're at is an exaggerated conversation. It's not about meeting people where they're at. It's about being yourself and being content and mature to understand that you have to have a high level of acceptance in order for you to be considered mature. In order for you to be mature, there has to be a high level of acceptance. So if you're continuously getting involved with things that don't belong to you, if you don't know how to mind your business, remember we talked about that? Mind your business. If you're in other people's pockets, if you're worried about everybody else, then and you're not taking care of yourself, then that is a contradiction and that is being hypocritical. How is that authentic? How is that genuine? A genuine person is humble. A genuine person is a person that doesn't have to be 50 people in one day. It's exhausting to keep changing hats every time you confront somebody else. So if you ever want to be in the highest vibration, if you ever want to be, at the best frequency, then it doesn't take anything at all. If anything, by doing too much, you push yourself out of frequency and vibration. You push yourself out of spirituality. You put yourself out of your core. You push yourself out of balance, out of grounding. Every time you are somebody else, you're going further and further away because you are flexible and you have this personality and that personality. That doesn't mean that you're being authentic or genuine. And I understand this because certain jobs require you to be somebody else. You have to limit the amount of people that you are. If you go to work and you're one person, that's your bread and butter, and you have to be somebody to be there, you come home, you switch hats, and then you become the family person, right? I get that. But if you have 5 different ways or 5 different personalities or 5 different people that you have to be, you will never be your genuine self because that's more of a facade. You understand?
Let's. Okay, so I feel like me personally, there's only 3 hats we should be wearing.
Okay.
Right? Your professional hat, right? Your parenting hat, and the friends and family hat goes to hand in hand. They go hand in hand, right? Because you can't parent your friends or your family. So that hat is separate for me, right? But when it comes to friends and family, those are the same hats. When my professional hat, my coaching hat, graphic designing, web designing, me at work, those are the same hats. That's one hat for me, right? I'm not wearing multiple hats. Besides that, I'm wearing the main 3 hats that I need to wear. My family, my friends, and my relationship. That's one hat, right? My parenting, another hat. My professional, another hat. That's it, right? Because those three environments, I can be myself because I've already instilled that within me on who I am as a person, right? I'm a father, a son, a brother, a boyfriend, cousin. But even though it's multiple people that I am, they fall under the same hat. Keep that in mind before you guys say that you wear multiple hats. A lot of that stuff fall under the same hat.
There's only one hat. First of all, I don't even wear hats.
I've never seen you wear a hat before.
Once in a while, I wear a hat. The whole thing is the whole thing, and this is just analogies, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get caught up with the
Oh,
words and the analogies.
exactly. Right.
Don't get caught up with that because we all can come up with clever ways of
Laura,
explaining.
welcome in.
Um, welcome in, Lomax. Lomax has something very, very interesting to ask. He goes, even with wearing various hats, being yourself is still important. Being yourself is the most important thing to life. Because what is life if you're not living? What is living if you don't have a life?
On that note, it is 10:31. 10:31. If anybody has any questions pertaining to the topic at hand, please send a request. And let's hear your questions. Let's hear your questions. Because I'm actually curious of what people have as questions in regards to this.
Yeah, we kind of went in. We went a little deep into this because there's so many different aspects to this. And again, it's all about how much pressure are we putting ourselves under to make the next person happy. Like we're putting so much effort into fitting
Is that
in.
our obsession? How was the
Right?
session?
Think about it. We put a lot of pressure into fitting in. We put a lot of pressure into making other people happy. But here's the thing. Why is it that we feel so much pressure when it comes to ourselves? Why? Because it's more important how people see you than how you see yourself. I'm done.
You know what's crazy? As much as that's true for a lot of people, for people like me and you, that shit don't that I
It
don't care
takes
how
work.
people see
It
me.
takes work, Teddy. It takes work.
I learned a long time ago. I learned a long time ago that well how people view me don't bother me. Why? Because I'm in my highest vibration.
Hey, at
And
the
you
end of
know
the day, people are gonna judge. We're not gonna be able to
exactly
stop people
like
from judging.
I so I had a conversation with somebody that I've known since elementary school. Elementary school, right? And this resonated because I didn't even ask him to say this. This is just something that he said. He says, since I've known you, you've never switched up. Right? But in the same aspect, I'm not the same person I was in elementary school, middle school, or high school. Right? But my character and my personality never shifted. I've always been Emmanuel. I've never been nothing else but Emmanuel. I've always stayed true to who I was as a person. My education and my knowledge has shifted since elementary school, middle school, high school, college. But the person that I am has never shifted.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Have you ever noticed when you yourself are moving funny?
Absolutely. Every time.
Everybody in the chat have had someone. Does someone always have to tell you when you're moving funny, or can you notice when you're moving funny?
It took a while for me to get there though.
Mhm.
I will say that. It took a while for me to get there. At some point in time, it took my best friend or somebody that's close to me to be like, I don't like how you're moving. Like, you know what I'm saying? The way that you're moving is not you, right?
Doesn't mean it's wrong.
Doesn't right. But
It just doesn't fit my narrative of you.
exactly. Right?
Again, same
But
shit.
in hindsight, in retrospect of how they feel, right? It may be me being in my growth and changing things about myself that I didn't like. You see what I did with that? You see how I switched that up? Like you know what I'm saying? Like it could be something that they felt so comfortable with, and now they don't see it. So you're growing and you're growing out of it.
That's what I'm talking about. The judge. You see, this is what I'm trying to talk about, right?
If you want to come up, Laura, you can definitely come up.
This is what I want people to understand. If someone always is the person to notice when you're moving funny, and moving funny is subjective, right? Moving funny is subjective. Let's use moving funny as you're doing something that might cause a problem. You're doing something that it might lead to problems, right? You're doing something that might cause some type of discomfort, right? If you can't see it yourself, in yourself, and somebody else has to be that person, you're never going to grow because it goes back to the circle of I feel shamed, not ashamed. When you feel ashamed, you're doing it for yourself. When you feel shamed, you're including someone else. And this is why a lot of people rely on the opinions of others because they need somebody to blame it on.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that because that's facts. I'm gonna
We
give you
need
that.
outside validation instead of listen.
I'm gonna give you
Acknowledgement and validation. Why do we need to be validated by somebody else? All we need to do is be acknowledged for the things we do once in a while by patting ourselves in the back or someone else patting us in the back, right? But if we don't acknowledge ourselves and we don't notice ourselves, then we need somebody else to do it for us because that is essential.
So to answer your question, Lomax, we change for ourselves. We don't change for others. And yes, parents, you don't even change for your kids. You change for yourself. I know that's hard to hear. I know a lot of parents will be like, no, I'm changing for my kids. I'm doing it for my kids. No, you're doing it for yourself. Because
You're gonna,
if you start with yourself, your kids will notice the change that you made for yourself. Kids are very visual. They pay attention. They see things that we don't see. All right, understand that. Like you give your kids less credit than they deserve. They see things that we don't see. They pay attention to everything. They may
sometimes
not
you feel you're better than yourself.
they may not exactly. They may not vocalize it as much because as parents we tell them to stay in a child's place, right? You know that staying, stay in a child's place, stay in a child's place. If you're not openly and vocal with your children, you'll never be able to see what they see. But
Hmm.
they pay attention to everything. So when you say I'm changing for my child, I'm changing for this, I'm changing for them. No, 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 no. You're changing for yourself. So that way they can see the change that you've made within yourself. So that way they can see what's going on. So that way
That's called,
they can start making the shift.
yeah. That's called leading by example. That's
That
called
part.
leading by example. That's a part that people in parenthood don't understand. Leading by example is one of the most important things because most kids will mimic what you do and not listen to what you say. So here's why you have to change for yourself because you want to teach your kids that you have to pour into yourself so that you don't raise kids to be
That
dependent on other people's acknowledgement.
others narrative.
Hello? You know what I'm saying? So we don't want kids to go
Oh, I
out
get it.
seeking.
I get it, Lomax. I get it, Lomax. I get it,
Yeah,
Lomax.
we don't want kids to go out there and start looking for things that they should have for themselves. We don't want to teach that. We don't want kids to go out there and say, I need acknowledgement and I need for this to be confirmed, or you always need a second opinion. You always need somebody else to get involved with the decisions that affect you the most. And it's okay to have advice. It's okay to go out there and seek a different perspective. But for the most part, people can't function without the validation of somebody else.
So Lomax asked the question, right?
Hmm.
And I like his response to it because he asked, "What who do we change for?" I said ourselves, and he said, "I asked for someone else in the room." Okay, and then he said, "I asked because your movement just may not fit others' narrative, and that's the justification for others."
It's gonna be about balance. I can't wait for Laura to speak because I know like I already see
What's
the car
balance?
I see the sprockets and the cars in her head right now that are just spinning like crazy. I can see it. She can't hide it.
Right.
She's
So
like, I can't wait to sink my teeth into this sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
So Deb, to answer your question, when they become of age, you have to give them that decision to wanna fix that. When they're of age, you can't really force them to for that change or make that change. If they see it as adults and you're making that change for yourself, they can vocalize. They have every opportunity to vocalize it because now they're equal to you. They're adults. You know what I'm saying? So they can vocalize if they want to vocalize if they see the change that you're making, or they want to make the change themselves. But as an adult, they don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. It's never too late, but they don't have to do anything that they don't want to do. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of being an adult, right? Like they don't have to do anything. They don't
Especially
have
if
to.
they don't need you. Especially if they don't need you and they got their own thing going on.
Yeah, if they have their own life going on and life is good for them on their end, and you know what I'm saying, they don't feel like they gotta resolve anything, or they don't gotta, you know, fix what's broken, or you know, they don't feel like they need to, then they're not gonna do it. But if it's something that you feel like you guys can have a conversation about and make it happen, then make it happen. But they don't have no they don't have to do it. That's unfortunate, but they don't have to do it. Like but it's definitely possible, but like it's a challenge.
Yeah, but it's listen, it's the same thing as though if you have three different kids, right, and they're at least 3, 4 years apart, you're gonna do a better job with the last one than you did with the first one because you've learned from
Hmm.
the mistakes of the first and the second one. Now that could also turn into hold up. This is my last kid. Let me coddle them. Let me nurture them. Let me protect them and overprotect them, right?
Right.
It could go two ways. You could be a better parent because of your experiences, or you could become a worse parent by engaging this kid, knowing that that's the last kid that you're gonna have, and you want to avoid being an empty nester instead of thriving on it.
Crazy.
Laura,
Laura.
Laura, come on, feed us some of that stuff.
How goes it, gentlemen?
Hello.
Okay, so I don't really know what we're talking about 100%, but I heard I'm going to comment on the thing that you said about adults. I hear this often, but it's what comes through my door every day is people living by rules they don't even understand they have, built on beliefs they don't think exist within them. Because surface level, it's like when people say, "How are you?" "I'm fine." It's an automatic reaction because a lot of times people don't think they want to hear. But even that, I'm a grown up, I can do what I want when I want. Can you? Because I see people walking around with a ton of limitations. You've got your inner rules, you've got your inner beliefs that are running you, but then you have the political outstanding, wherever country or state or province, you've got rules that you have to live on. There are rules we have. But kids get so many mixed messages. You can be anything you want to, but you can do anything you want to. Right. And that's where a lot of limitations I see coming in. It's people, it's really wild. I'm just trying to remind people to love themselves and that they're worth it. And I mean, I see mistakes as just that. It's a mistake. It means you're doing it again. It's not a miss one and done. That's where we learn. But a lot of parents don't want to embody the example because they don't even know what it is. And then they feel stupid. They feel like they're not equipped. So instead of saying, "I don't know the answer," they shut down. And it's more well, do as I say, not as I do. So I see a lot of people who even struggle to know what their own rules are present day.
Right. So the topic today, right, is toxic relationships. Now we're going an aspect of romantic, family, friend, and work environments. So we kind of dived into the family and the romantic. We didn't dive into the friend or the work environment.
Have you dove into the toxic relationship that most of us have with ourselves?
We
We
did.
touched it. We touched on it.
Because that's the one I find anyone you break down, it's the one thing that people sit with the least. Because a lot of
Right.
people struggle with codependency. And when they get out of the relationship, let's say it's with a person, they jump into something a lot of times to replace whatever that need was that's being filled. And if it was a substance, they can replace it with something different that feels
The
healthy.
rebound.
Yeah. But if we don't understand and ride out what the codependency means, to see the parts of us, a lot of times all the codependency is there for is we've got the dark and light sides. We have the toxic, right? If we want to call it that, the lower vibration, and then we have the higher vibration parts of ourselves. But a lot of us deflect those negative parts and blame it elsewhere instead of going, okay, but this is a part of me. And if I don't like it in you, then I likely don't like it in me. Am I able to change it? And a lot of people get kind of afraid of the responsibility that it takes to get out of the toxicity. I don't care if it's in a work environment, a relationship, a friendship with yourself, with a substance. You got to understand where you're going. If you don't know where you're running from, where do you go?
Right.
Interesting. I got something for you, Laura. In my coaching experience, young coaching experience, and I say that because I've only been doing this for 6 years. That's very young. I find that people don't even believe that they can be toxic with themselves. People are under the impression that you need someone else present in order to have toxicity. Toxicity does not need someone else in order to be toxic because you could be toxic to yourself, right? So let's coin that phrase that you said. You said the word mistake, right? But this is what the beauty of the English language is that if you understand, if you have reading comprehension and you have vocabulary, you can take that word mistake. Look what she said. Mistake means that you're just doing it again. Why? Because you missed and you
That's
didn't
correct.
take what you were supposed to take out of what your experience is. You missed the opportunity to take something from it. That's why it's a mistake because you missed it. You missed the learning experience. So if you continue to do mistakes, it's not a mistake anymore. It's habitual. It's a pattern.
Right. And I mean, I break words down all the time. And so put this one down, Ted, because the other one I tell people, if you have a toxic issue, I don't care where it is. Again, it's in the word issue. The core issue is you. It's in the word. It is not anybody else. It is you. So if you've got an issue, you got to look within you and ask, why is it pissing you off? But we were brought up, so many of us. Well, who did this? Well, who did this to you? Who hurt you? Or who made you do this? Instead of just asking, where were you coming from? How do you feel now? It was always about the blame game. Hey, Frosty, yep, the issue is in your tissue. And that's where it gets all stuck up in the physical, right? The educational purposes only. But it gets toxic issues get into literally your physical body, your mind, your energy. And it's where people are so afraid to go is themselves. That's why they jump from thing to thing. That's why they jump from coach to coach. They from diet to diet. It's the fault of the other thing, the other person. They don't want to look at themselves because once you understand that you can heal yourself and you're responsible for yourself, oh shit, can't blame anyone.
Interesting. Watch this. So guess what? So I guess identity has a lot to do with this because if your identity is comprised or made up from everybody else's opinion of you, do you really have an identity? Number one. Number two, the prefix MIS, miscommunication, misfortune, mistake.
Messiah.
MIS means
You
that you missed it. You know, then you missed it. You missed the whole point. There was miscommunication. You dropped the ball on whatever opportunity presented himself. That's what miss means. That you did not see or was aware of the lesson that was supposed to be learned. Learn, children. Misconform, miscommunication, mistake.
yeah.
I'm gonna take it into an aspect of energy, and just your empathy and paying attention to your body. If you make a decision, if you're making a decision and you feel uneasy, if you feel unease, your body feels like your body's kind of like
It's in
telling
dis-ease.
like
It's in
force you
dis-ease.
not like you know what I'm saying. It's fighting you on the decision. If you're feeling like your chest is tight, your body's like real like it's constricting because it doesn't want you to make this decision.
Yeah.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
That's another way of being toxic to yourself. Like you trying to fight what your body is telling you, or trying to fight what your body is the signal that it's firing, and you're ignoring it. You're causing the misfire.
Yeah, that could be a couple of things. So you see, that could be your subconscious giving you a warning that you've been through this before, right? And then that, but at the same time, we gotta make sure that we don't get that confused because look, it could be fear. It could be fear of the unknown. It could be something that it could be a new fear too. It doesn't have to be something that's been lingering. You could get a fear into you in a second. Because remember, I'm a firm believer that your brain comes up with great ideas, but when you get your heart involved, it's going to try to convince you otherwise.
Well, yeah, it's that, but it's also, and yes, I'm an energy mind person. You guys know this. I'm going to add this in. I think you need to learn your body. You need to learn your mind. You need to learn your energy because here's the thing. Same thing that you said, Teddy, it's that when you're feeling off, your body will tell you. 100% anxiety, what that is telling you, you are out of alignment. Something is off. And it doesn't mean that you need to run away. It just means pay attention. However, a lot of times, if you ever notice when people have retired, where they go on vacation because they've been grinding and grinding, and then they're like, oh my God, I took a break and I got sick. Well, the energy moves fast, the body less so, but at the same time, sometimes it's because we need to slow down to realize not only that we need to rest, but maybe that's the time to take to see if we're in alignment. And when we're doing healing, and a lot of times this happens whether it's mental or physical, emotional, energetic healing, when you're doing that, you got to let things pass because the body needs to release. And sometimes it's like going to the gym. The first time you get back there, it's sore for a few days. And you got to push for a few days. And you're going, oh, fuck, I got to do this. But then you get through it, and then you finally see some results. You finally see some results, and then it's okay, now you start climatizing, getting used to it. But if you don't know your mind, your body, your emotions, for so long, likely somebody's been telling you how you feel. And I'm just inviting you guys to start scanning your own energy, feel into your own body, yours.
And you know what's crazy? Let's use that question. I love that question, right? Because nobody truly answers the question correctly. Like nobody, they never really truly answer the question when you ask them that, right? How do you feel?
No, because I'm asking, if I say, how do you feel right now? How do you feel?
Like they never give you the actual answer, right?
So it comes into defense.
So when I answer this question, I really have to sit in it, right? Because I have to think of avenues of where I am, right? Where am I in mentally? Where am I in physically? Emotionally, where am I in? Spiritually, where am I? Intellectually, where am I, right? And then if I give you that, I'm okay. That means I'm still trying to figure everything else out. Like one aspect could be good, one aspect could be all right, one aspect could be and then but in retrospect of everything, I'm okay. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's how I view it in regards
Well, a lot
to
of people, I think there's two reasons people don't really ask. Because one, a lot of times people don't really fucking care how you are.
You can't welcome in.
You out of niceties. I'm going to be honest. When people go and sit there and go, how are you? They're doing it because somebody told them at some point that's a polite thing to do. But go and answer them honestly and see if they're still standing there. A lot of times they're like expecting you to say fine, good, but whatever, and move on. So one, I think a lot of people don't even believe that people care how they are. And two, it's tapping into understanding how do you feel though? And how do you feel emotionally? How do you feel, physically? How do you feel energetically? It's a good thing to take a moment to pause and feel it out.
It's such a broad question.
Yeah, but I think so many people make believe. Yeah, think about this. Some people actually ask you how you're doing because they're about to ask you for a favor. Time out.
He's not offering.
I didn't think you was gonna take it there. I'm not gonna lie
to you. First of all, if I can't break it down, she will. Now listen to this. Let's go back. Let's go back to a couple of comments ago, and I want you. I want to hear your take on this, Laura. But I'm going to add something to what this person said. Spiritual priestess said, and we normally have to give emotion permission to stay. I'm going to say this one more time slowly.
Mm-hmm.
We normally have to give emotion permission to stay. Why have I been telling you, Teddy, for the last 3 years that I used to be the type of person to invalidate your feelings? You shouldn't feel like that. You really don't feel like that. You shouldn't feel like that. You know what? I stopped doing that, and I started saying, you know what? There is nothing more factual than your feelings. There is nothing more real than your feelings. But my question is, how long are you gonna stay there?
Well, you know I
Mm.
have an answer for this one, Hormiga. Come on.
Come
Come
on, that's
on
why I
now.
gave it to you. That's why I gave it to you.
I know, and thank you to the authentic family. I see you in there. Hi T, hi Frost. And I know I'm supposed to be on my live, but I'm like I'm here. I like the conversation. So a couple things. You need to give permission, absolutely, for those emotions to say it, and it is the heart that actually speaks to the brain. A lot of things the brain talks to the body. It's the heart, and you guys can go to heartmath.org and check that out. Which is why you do not want to make things from an emotional space in terms of decisions, emotions, reactions instead of responses. But you need to, that human body will only hold that emotion for 90 seconds in the body because we are supposed to feel, make no mistake, I get pissed off. I get angry. I want to do some shit sometimes, but I don't sit with it. And this is where I challenge and I get a lot of pushback when people say sit with it. I hear a lot of people in the spiritual community. I hear a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, again, educational purpose only, my perspective, perception. However, what are we sitting with it for? What am I sitting in it for? If you're sitting in shit, you know it's shit. You don't need to sit there to remember it stinks, it's mucky,
It's a fun.
the minute you step out of it, you're still going to smell this shit. You can look back and see it. So are you going to rinse it off and do something about it? You don't need to sit in it. You can still move. And so when people talk about the emotions, if you're mad and it's been 4 hours and you're saying it's because the guy cut you off at the highway, that is a choice.
Wow.
I wish you was. I wish you wasn't alive on Thursday. I really wish you wasn't alive on Thursday with me, Frosty, and Amber.
Oh, yeah?
Let me tell you, I got to give Frosty her flowers. Because the first Thursday that we did all that, all three of us together, I seen that she was giving a little bit pushback, but I think she had a self-reflection after the live because when she came in on Thursday and we knew what the plan was, right? We was gonna let Amber sit in her inner child so that way she could understand where Amber was coming from as little Amber, not as the adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
And without me even telling her it's okay to validate little Amber, she did it. Like she didn't put herself in it. She didn't but this, but that. She didn't do none of that. Like she just talked to little Amber as the mom. You know what I'm
She was,
saying?
she was already on her way based on what you're saying. You see,
And
but here's the thing for both of you guys, right? And you being the professional coming up, and Laura being the professional that's been here for a while, right? Because Laura's been doing this for a while, right? Here's the thing: we, like you said, sitting in your own shit, it smells the same. That's not true because we train ourselves to tolerate our own bullshit.
Well, we can
We
make
train
we can make
ourselves,
this shit smell nice because we get used to it for sure. Just like
right?
people.
But that's
we gotta put
tolerance,
the
right?
muscle on it.
That's being able to tolerate instead of fixing it, right? Instead of working on it, we learn how to tolerate it. That's the difference between a defense mechanism and a coping mechanism. Because when you're coping with it, you're learning how to coexist with it. As a defense, you're learning how to react to it. But
Like
are
why
you
would you
really?
want to
But are
tolerate?
you really
Why would
doing
you
it?
want to sit in your shit and tolerate your
Why?
shit?
Why do you think people go to therapy? It's because they're sitting in their shit and they don't know how to get out of it because they made a comfortability out of it.
Yeah, no
No,
facts.
but what T is saying, it's me. Y'all know I lean right into the shit. I gain
Right.
insight in that state, a freaking 100%. But you do not stay in it, and that is exactly the difference.
That's where that isolation kicks in.
And that's where I say there's action in traction. It's in the fucking word, but you got to move. That's why if one more person tells me I'm manifesting the man of my dreams and $1 million and they're sitting on their fucking couch, I want to just go, because as nice as I am, that is some bullshit. Because unless you're going to move to a beach, move
Welcome
somewhere
to
where there's horses, move somewhere there's at least a man, or go to a bank where there's money. You need to move and put some motion into the things you want to manifest. You can't just think about them and they're going to land on your lap.
Wait, let me help that out a little bit, Lower, just a little bit. For those that are not following what she's saying, because it's not always easy to follow it when you're defining it, when you're deflecting it, right? She's talking about the same type of person that has the master plan of what you're gonna do when you hit lotto, but you don't play it.
Listen, whew, you know what?
I
That's
like that,
So
Mo.
think about it. Think about it. Everybody knows exactly what they're gonna do when they hit lotto. Are they playing lotto
No, because they're too scared to lose money.
or
oh,
lazy or whatever the reason is? There's always a reason for you not to be proactive in your
But
own life.
this was the shadow, gentlemen. If you've heard me talk about gene keys, we were just talking about this yesterday, and it's me is gonna love it. It's the fourth gene key if you're familiar with it, and this one is the shadow of intolerance.
Yes, come on, break. Explain that, please. Explain that.
Sure will. So intolerance is black and white thinking, basically. It's misusing logic to back your thinking and the way that you do things. It's using what I call fake facts, even if they're facts. You cannot move or budge with people's it's opinions, it's judgment, and it is subjective. It is very one lane, right? And there are two ways to figure out if you lean into this. I can literally read it to you guys, but I'll tell you there's a reactive and a repressive state to each shadow. And the repressive, which is we go inward often, this is our inner child. Okay, we can hit both of these, but this is going to be that kind of apathetic. This is zero accountability. Okay, these are the people that do not move and really will go into victimization space quite easily. And then there's the reactive, which is nitpicking. They will find a way to poke holes into every situation possible. So you can give them a solution, but they're going to butt their way out of it.
That's difficult, man.
okay. So
Very hard. And then you got to get to the gift of understanding. And understanding is just going from the trees to the forest. It's looking at things more objectively.
So with you saying that, right? Can you apply it to the topic and give everybody an insight on how that works in a toxic relationship? Because I want everybody to hear what you said, but I want them to kind of experience it. Because a lot of people here so far say that they've experienced a toxic relationship. So I want kind of put it together and give them an aha moment.
So in a toxic relationship, if they're having like within a partnership, do you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it's specific this shadow, how would you use that shadow? So it's where if you're on a path, let's just say it's even about growing. Let's say you're new on this feeling game and your partner is not. Let's just use something very low level here. And they have a certain belief system running already. Well, then it would be, but this is the only way. If you don't go team positivity and if you don't meditate every day, if you don't set your intentions first thing in the morning, and if you're not vegan, well, then you're not like going to ever get to the love and light situation and you're fucked. Like there's no other way. There's no room. There's no room for them to go. And it's the same thing with somebody saying, I'm open to you working. You know, I want to support you. I want to see you. But the only places you can work are here, here, and here. And it needs to be between these hours. So now it's conditioning. So it's also somebody seeing a solution in a relationship, and maybe it's raising your kids. And you don't believe that the rules are the same. And you say, well, I think we need to kind of raise our kids this way. But then they start poking holes in the situation, you know, or they start growing, but you're like, but you're not doing it right. You know, or you cleaned the kitchen, but you didn't use the cleaning products I put out. So now you're just finding situations. Is that helping? Is that kind of what you mean? Like just kind of.
Hold on. Let me add something more so you could keep going with this, Laura.
Okay.
How about when we ask someone to do something and they didn't do it the way we wanted them to do it?
When they do it the way
I'm
they
not gonna keep doing this with you, nigga.
I'm doing it because she's here and she can break it down.
Big fight with me. What is it? What are you picking at? Pick at something. So I
Right. So what I'm saying is, look, a lot of people go with the flow. We say something profound, and then that's the catalyst for the
I'll
rest of
give
our
you an
life.
example. I'll give you an example that you could pick at because
Okay.
this is gonna be good. Let's make it easy. Cooking something. I don't feel like cooking today, so I want you to go cook. I want you to cook. Can you cook today?
Sure. Do you have any
But then
food
when
you want me to make?
when you eat the food,
But when
you're
they
like,
make the food,
then you criticize.
I don't like how this tastes. Maybe I should have cooked.
Exactly. Right? That's exactly what happened. You didn't do it right. I wanted to eat at 5:30. It's 5:47. It's past my window. It's like I just did something nice. Why are you and we do this a lot with kids, right? We do this a lot with different people who are in this kind of situation where we're trying to better ourselves. We're trying to better our relationships, but people tell you how it needs to be. And I got told many, many times when I started going to retreats that I wasn't intuitive. My psychic senses couldn't be working. And I asked why. And they said, because I eat meat. And I'm like, so first of all, to be clear, I'm not religious. But I said, I'm not able to be spiritual. I am not energy connected here because I eat meat. I'm like, I have so many places to go with that, but I'm going to let you sit with that and you do your own research. But I can promise you, I can connect and eat meat. I used to feel like I would have to defend things. Now I'm much more in that shadow, out of the shadow here. I've moved through the gift of understanding, but I've actually reached acidic space. Not all the time. I dip as well of being really open and objective, and I think anybody who's been in my chat knows this, to lovingly, and this is my idea of what forgiveness is to open and lovingly listen. That's it. I can listen. I hear you and I love you. I don't need to tell you what to do. I don't need to have an opinion about it. I don't need to say anything. I don't need to have a reason. And this is something I gave for homework because anybody who understands this key, you want to see if you have a hard time with it, ask if you can go into any situation with someone you love without needing a reason.
Real quick, I just wanted to come in. We reached our 50K. Look, we're at 51K. We still have an hour to go. So if we could bump that up to like 75K, I would greatly appreciate it. So this is the quick commercial break. Like I said earlier, tap the screen like you tap the bean, and that goes for men and women because both of y'all tap beans. And if you'd like to tap the bean, you should like to tap the screen because obviously you're enjoying the conversation. Once again, tap the screen like you tap that bean. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And I need one more subscriber, y'all, to hit 19.
Just one more subscriber. Come on.
I just need one
$2,
subscriber.
$3. So check it out, Laura, and everybody else is coming in. Welcome in real quick. So how does this sound? Because I very rarely hear people say, hey, I want you to do this, but they don't finish the sentence. What they should be saying is, I want you to do this for me the way I like it done. Think about that. Hey, can you do me a favor? Blah, blah, blah. My mother told me when I was young, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. But you can't expect other people to do what you do. So this is what takes us out of humility. Because
It also doesn't
here
make
you
it right.
are,
It just makes it
right?
loving for you. It's the way you like it.
Right. This is my preference, right? As opposed to there could be a better way. Like I could say, Laura, can you do me a favor and handle this client, right? But then the client comes back and be like, well, I like the way you do it. I'm like, I know you like the way I do it, but there are other things that you can learn from other people that can lead you to what is right. You understand what I'm saying? Because just because we want somebody to do things the way we want us to do it, it doesn't make it right. And we can't get upset if they don't do it the way we do it because that's how we do it. And that's why people drop the ball because we have too many high expectations of expecting people to do things the way we do things because we feel we're always right. We're going to defend ourselves to the end until somebody proves us wrong, right? We're gonna fight it tooth and nail. Like that's not what I learned. That's not what I heard. That's not the way I grew up. I hear that all the time. I didn't grow up that way. So you're stuck where? Where are you stuck? How do you learn if you don't see the pressure that you put on the other people expecting them to be like you? That's projection.
I think this is where it's inviting people just room for movement, to know that everything and anything is possible with change, but change has to occur, and you have to believe it's possible. And I think you guys are very open. I mean, I think literally anybody can change. I really do. And I think that if it's the difference, a lot of people ask if it's time. Nope, I don't think time does it. I think love makes the difference. I think patience, but you're not going to have patience if you don't have understanding. If you don't have understanding, you likely don't have love. Right?
Nice, nice. That's the process. People don't want to. People want to pick and choose what part of the process they want to process.
But I
You see,
believe
you can't pick and choose the consequences of your actions, right?
yeah.
So
But it's
before
also the follow through of where it can go, right? Like I think everybody I mean, do you guys still get triggered? Do you still get triggered, man? You'll still get triggered. Do you still get triggered from me? I still get triggered. It's a lot less. It's a lot less. But what I do is I look at why I get triggered. And I know there's room for growth, right? And I would love one day, maybe we can bust through one of your triggers, both of you, and we can see if we can hammer home to a root. Like I did hear, I missed a good conversation about change, about narcissism, and that, I don't know, one of you or somebody in the room said they don't think narcissists can change. And that, and I was like, I think all people can change. But and narcissism is a big, was that Trinita?
so
You didn't even speak up, bro.
let me give you context to that, right? So the live that we
I thought
had,
that you didn't put your hand up, my brother. Oh, we're gonna have a
Good
conversation.
morning. Narcissists do control
give me one
because
second. Give me 1 second, Bless. Give me 1 second, Bless. Give me 1 second, Bless. Because we're trying to go.
can you hear me? Or you
Yeah.
want me to open my camera?
No. Give me 1 second, because we're. I don't want anybody to talk over each other. So just one moment. So the conversation of the narcissist, when we had that conversation, it was like a 3-part live, literally a 3-part live, right? So the first live that we did, that was one of the things that came out of his mouth. So so when he did that, I kind of just let it sit. I didn't really give him anything after that, because I wanted him to really believe that, until we did the last live, right? And then I brought the aspect of the doctor. I bought the videos with the aspect of the doctor, and the second I brought that, that's when everybody's mind was just shifting. Everybody was like, "What is happening right now?" like I've never heard the aspect of the doctor saying that a narcissist can change. Right? We've never heard it. We've never seen it, because it's not something that's really broadcasted, right? Because they hear a narcissist, they be like, "Oh, this person's evil. They can't change. Da da da. Personality disorder. Yada yada yada." Brought that aspect to the doctor, and we sat there and listened to the doctor speak about the perspectives of the narcissist healing, and like the avenues that the narcissist has to go through in their process. And everybody was like, "What is happening right now? Like how is this like, what is going on?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they've never heard it. They've never heard it. So it's just like, once I brought that to the table, everybody's perspective shifted.
Well, that had a lot to do. A lot that has to do with that also is, as the victim of being with a narcissist, you've developed so much hatred that you're numb, and you don't even want that person to heal. You don't even believe that person can heal. You rather that person stay in their own mud as payment for what they did to you.
Right. So before I let you go, Bless, because we had other people that came up before you. I just want to hear from Rash, and then I'll let you go. So we have to just to give everybody that's coming in that's new, the topic today is toxic relationships. So let's try to keep the questions in. Let's try to keep the questions in so we don't veer off, because like I said, the audio goes on to YouTube, so I don't want anybody to be talking over each other and it sounds all muffled and all over the place. So go ahead, Rash. I'll let you go first, and then Bless, I'll let you go after. Because I'm curious now. Because now that everybody's been sitting here for a little bit, I'm pretty sure you guys heard a lot.
Does
So
that say rest in the flesh?
I think I don't know if she's here or not, but I know she's in here. She's in here. I know she's in here.
So then give Bless a chance to answer while
Well,
it.
go ahead, Bless. While we wait for her.
Okay, so I am a 50-year-old nurse, and my soon-to-be ex-husband, because we're in the process of a divorce, very toxic, very toxic. He is a narcissist, and we tried to reconcile things, but it was very toxic. He used control, um, very self-centered. And you know what? I believe that the narcissists, they don't really know what they're going through. And sometimes I've been married to him for 20 plus years, and it was very toxic, very toxic. He fucked me up emotionally and mentally and physically.
That's tough to even listen to. First of all, we're here. We're here with you. And this is why we need people like you, Blessed, to come up and say these things because it's real. People live with this on a daily basis, and we need to recognize these things earlier before we get involved and facilitate and enable this behavior to continue to happen. Think about this, Blessed. If you could go back in time, you would have done what you're doing now a while ago, right?
Yes, if I knew, and I brought him from Africa. That's a sad part about it, is that I brought him from Africa. Like I said, I'm 50 years old, and it was like he used me for everything, and I didn't realize that this is what I was going through.
Interesting. When you first went through the enlightening part, when it started resonating with you, were you did you feel as though you dropped the ball on yourself? Did you feel as though you did this to yourself? Did you start blaming yourself?
Yes, I did.
So before we continue, let's try to refrain from using any labels
Sure.
because we definitely don't want to promote that here, right? We're not promoting any labeling anybody anything. So let's just kind of try to speak on your experiences without the labeling, if that makes sense.
Right. But you see what she said, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna hear the same situation more often than not, and I'm sure Laura has been through this a lot. When you get to that point where you realize, wow, I've been allowing this to happen. Then we start pointing fingers at ourselves, and then we start making excuses for them before we even start doing something.
You're
Right
right
before,
about that. You're so right about that. I agree with you 100%.
and it's tough. Laura, how many times have you confronted the situation where the person tries to remove a piece of the process and tries to skip,
So
step two or step four? You know what I'm saying?
before we continue, the reason why I say refrain from labeling because we don't know if he's actually diagnosed as a narcissist.
Correct.
That's the reason why I said that.
Well,
Okay.
focus on the toxicity because
And I agree with you 100%. I'm not labeling him as a narcissist, but I know I'm a professional nurse and he's a physician. He's a doctor.
oh,
So we are very professional people, and I know exactly what I'm looking at.
May I speak? Bless.
Yeah, Laura, take the floor.
And permission, because I don't know if you've met me yet, but I'm like really honest. So I'm going to say this lovingly, but I'm a big person in accountability. And working with people who have been in these relationships and lovingly, I've moved through this myself. But if we take ourselves out of the place of saying we're victims of, we've been victimized. And it really doesn't matter what the label is. If it's hurt you, I'm really sorry, first of all, that you've ever been hurt physically in any way. You deserve love and patience and understanding. And
Thank you.
even though I don't see you, I see you.
Yes.
So please take your power back. And one of the biggest things that I will offer you today is I invite you to look at you and why you've accepted these behaviors and thought they were love. Because at some point, you thought behaviors were love, and that's okay. But you can break that rule and belief and rewrite it. And then you can start using it and making it worth that you brought him here and that you did all those beautiful things because you're a kind heart. And you can make that work because it's still a lesson for you. You're here. You're 50, baby. You just getting started. All right. Most people who are successful billionaires, they don't make it to their 50s. Right? You're going to take your power back and learn how to heal you. You're a nurse, you're a healer, and 100%, even if you had behavior that was less than favorable, learn from it and answer yourself as to why you accepted it. Because there's a frequency within you that believes that you deserve that type of behavior, and what we need to do is teach you that no, you deserve to have love that's reciprocated, unconditional, kind, and you deserve that. So what you need to do, don't focus on what he did, don't focus on the pain. See what's happening present, and just know that you're very loved and very strong, and you've already started. You're not broken. You're healed, and we heal together.
Not only that, really quickly, my love, you can't erase what happened, right? You can't erase it, but what you can do is look forward to the best years of your life that you gotta ask yourself, you could have stood here longer. You could have stood in that same situation longer, but you're in the process of removing yourself from something that is not conducive to you and is holding you back from living what's gonna happen now. Look forward to what's gonna happen now because the best years of your life, my love, they're coming. You're young. 50 is not old. On the contrary, where everybody thinks that that's old. Life is short. You know what I'm saying? So I started all over at around the same age as you did, and I'm doing really well right now. And all you have to do is focus on what's coming, not what happened.
And if you feel into your present body right now, I can feel you. You're shaking. Okay, your physical body is shaking. You feel a little nauseated. So instead of saying that somebody's hurt you so bad that you're weak, look at it as you are shaking a little bit because you're releasing old energy, old toxins. You're moving and you're learning to stand on your own strong. You just got shaky legs, baby. Nobody broke you. You ain't weak. You're just practicing standing on your own. So let that shaking release naturally and just know you're going to be more than okay.
This is real, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't been here before, if you're just passing through, there's a reason why you're here. We take real conversations, real problems, not the fluffy stuff. The people that come up here, we don't know a lot of the people that come up here to say their story. But what they're looking for is exactly what they need. They need proof that what they're doing is the right thing. They need validation and acknowledgement from people that have either been there, heard it before, and want to help you get out of your mud. But it takes you to be the initiator. It takes you to be the facilitator of this. With you and the spiritual essences, people have a different name for it, right? Some people call it God, some people call it the universe, some people call it whatever it is. Attach yourself to the Most High, but
Thank
remember
you
that the
so
Most High
much
is
for the
inside of you.
information.
The High is inside of you already, though. You just got to bring it out. It's already there.
Sometimes sometimes you have to sit in it once it happens to understand what happened. In order to learn from your mistakes, in order to learn from your experiences, sometimes you have to sit in it to understand what happened. You don't have to sit in it for too long, like we said earlier today. Don't sit in it for too long, but at least sit in it enough to understand it. Because in order to grow from it, you have to understand what happened. It's not meaning you gotta get the response from the person that caused it. I want to make sure that we're clear on that, right? We're not trying to get a response from the person that caused it. We're trying to understand what happened so that way we can figure out what the situation was and the parts that we played in it, right? Because when we're in here, we're talking about self-reflection, right? We're talking about self-accountability, right? When we're in here, right? We don't talk about the other person. We really rarely talk about the person that hurt us. So,
Can I come in and say something?
yeah, give me one moment and I got you. I got you. I want everybody to understand where we're coming from when we're here, right? We're supporting her. We're not supporting the situation that happened. We're supporting her. We're supporting her growth and what's to come. Okay? She's already dealt with it. It's already happened. We can't go back and fix what happened. It's already happened. Now we're in the state where we want her to understand that what's going to happen now is going to be something profound.
Exactly.
It's gonna be her shedding her skin, like a snake sheds their skin. It's gonna be her shedding the skin of being who she was for him and starting to be who she is for her. I want everybody to comprehend that. All right. And that's for the people that are coming in. That's you that don't really know what we do here. We're focused on us. We're not focused on the people that hurt us. We try not to do that because then it puts us in a position where we have to start asking questions to them that we know for a fact is that we're not going to get the answer to most of the time. We're not going to get those answers from them, especially if they're not working on themselves. They're not going to know the answer. They're not going to know the true answer of why they did it. They're only going to know the answer of who they are as a person now, and the answer that you're going to get is probably going to end up triggering you. Bless, can you mute real quick just so we don't have the background noise?
I'm sorry.
No worries. And then I'll let you speak because I know you said you had something to say. Just be mindful of that, right? When you're in your process of healing, try not to go back to ask questions as much because the thing is, you won't get the answers that you want all the time. It's rare that you do. When you do, you might get it. Sometimes you might not. And when you don't, if you're in your process, it might trigger you more because you couldn't get the answer that you wanted versus you actually being in it and in that situation. Be very mindful of that. Because I never want to see somebody go through that process all over again and be hurt all over again. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll end up being victimized all over again for that situation. You know what I'm saying? So be very, very careful when you're in that process, especially with the process that she went through. Like, you got to be mindful of these things. Do not put yourself in a position to try to ask questions to the person that you know that is not working on themselves, because you're not going to get the response that you're looking for. You might get the complete opposite response, and it might hinder your healing.
Interesting. Very interesting, Bless, because Laura touched on this earlier. We have to learn when to move, not just to move ourselves. We can't continue to be a target. We have to move, right? Differently, right? As a receiver and a giver. We cannot continue to be the target of this, right? So in order for you not to be the target of something, we have to learn how to move out the way. And that's what you're doing right now. You're moving out the way. You're doing the work right now. And I know you're like, wow, I wasted a lot of time. I did that. Don't worry about that. You can't do nothing about it. You could only do what you can do today and going forward.
Right.
Learn from this. Like what Laura said, the word mistake. That means that we miss the lesson that's been trying to get through to us. We've been making excuses, putting ourselves behind the situation instead of in front of the situation. You can't be behind the situation because that means that you're waiting for something to happen before you move. You got to be proactive, and I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Bless. You've been doing it. She's not here no more, but if she's still
No,
listening,
she's still in here.
if she's still listening, I will tell you this: you are already in the process. You are way ahead of the game to a lot of people that are still stuck in their mud. You feel me?
So, all right, hold on, because I want to give time for Triplet to speak, and it's me just came up for the first time.
She did it.
You did. So go ahead, Trip. Take the floor. Then I'm sure you had something you wanted to say.
I just had a question about something that Ormega said earlier. Let me get out of the baby's bathroom place so you don't hear this. Hold on, sorry.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Um, you know I'm in there all day. Um, you said earlier, Ormega, that the people who don't like to feel pity or to be pitied are narcissists. Now, are you saying that's just narcissists, or is there other people who don't like that? Because the way that like I was hearing it, like the way that you were saying it was like only narcissists don't like to be pitied. But like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a narcissist
No,
and
I didn't.
I don't like the pity. That makes me feel like really off. I don't enjoy that. So I was just trying to understand like the full statement that you were saying.
For particularly the narcissist, that's one of the things that they can't deal with the most, right? But that doesn't disinclude other people from feeling that way as well. But that's like the anti, because that type of person is is very self-centered, right? To the point where they're selfish. And I keep telling people, stop saying that you have to be selfish sometimes, because that's not about being selfish. There's no room for selfishness whatsoever. It's about being self-centered and balanced. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that we get so stuck in our self-centeredness that it turns into selfishness. Then it becomes all about us. We have to focus on ourselves to get ourselves in a better place. But once you get there, you don't stay there, because then you become selfish. So what I meant by the pity, because pity can come from different places. You understand what I'm saying? Pity is not always negative. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that is just something that that type of person, or anyone that has high level of the tendencies that go with that, they look at that as the antichrist. You understand? They look at that as, I don't want anyone to judge me in that way, because it kind of reveals something about them that they use as a manipulation tactic. So
Yeah,
it's
you
kind of
know I have the baby,
like you
so I
got
don't get to hear like full statements. So
no,
like the
no,
way I
it's
heard it,
like,
because I'm doing all this shit and I'm hearing you and I'm like, what are you saying? Like only narcissists don't like to feel pity? Because I'm starting to learn I have like a lot more narcissistic traits than I thought, because I never looked into it, and King lets me know daily that we're mildly narcissistic over here. And I'm learning, so I wanted to you to like re-say it so I can actually hear the full statement so that I can understand, because that's something that I'm looking into. So that's why
well,
I was asking. But you know, I missed stuff because I got the babies.
it's all about the enlightening part of the reveal moment. Like when it's like, oh my God, you onto me. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God, you are actually catching the things that I'm doing. What am I gonna do now?
So so the thing is, right? So just to give context of what she said in regards to me always kind of bringing up the traits. Yeah, we see you. Um, I always, if I say something in regards to it, is because I want you to hear yourself when you say it, versus me hearing you. Because if I hear you, because I know the education behind it, right? So I'm obviously going to catch on to because I know the education behind it. But I want you to hear you, so you can pay attention to what you're saying and the way that you're phrasing it and the way that you're putting it together, and so that way you could pay attention to if you have some of the traits or not. Not a full blown
Yeah, no.
narcissist,
Look,
because it's very
100%
rare,
I
right?
appreciate it, because I learned something new. And you know, when we were sitting there having that conversation, I learned something new about myself. I learned where it came from, and I realized, you know, maybe that's something that I do probably, and I laugh about it because it's like, oh, that's something so little to me. Like you bringing it up is like, no way. Like I don't see it like that. It's not toxic to me. It's normal to me. That's my normal. So to hear, like, I appreciate you saying stuff because it helps me learn and it helps me grow, and it's helping me in that journey. So it's not, I'm not saying it in a hateful way. I appreciate
No,
it
no,
because
no.
I
I
do
just
need to
wanted
hear
to give
that.
everybody the context, because I know when people probably heard you say it, they'd be like, "Damn, he called her a narcissist." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because you know how
it's a
when people
it's a
people
whole
hear things and they
situation.
run
Yeah,
with it.
it's not
Right.
anything like weird behind it. It's just I do say
Maybe
some
so.
things, and but I don't do it like I'm not on these platforms all the time. Like these are private conversations between friends, and
Right.
it's good to have friends that actually say, "Hey, that's probably not a good thing," or "Hey, that's a little bit not okay." Like you have to have friends that say that stuff, or you're going to sit there and you're going to continue to do the bad behavior. Like you're not learning and you're not growing. So it's better to have friends that actually, yeah, don't touch the door. See, look at her. You don't supposed to
That's
touch the door, and it's a little bit toxic sometimes. And friends telling you, "Hey, that's not okay," is a good friendship to me. Like I want to know, hey, that's probably not all right. Do something differently, or learn about that one and figure out why you're doing that. It helps you grow. So I do appreciate it. It was just I needed to understand. I needed to understand for myself, and I missed that like half of the things that you were saying.
Gotcha.
right. Now, let me just say this: we all have some type of those traits, in one way,
That's
shape, or form, right? And that's one thing.
oh
But we have to make a distinction between good and bad, and what's good for me and bad for me. Good for me and bad for me is not always the equivalent to good and bad. You may think that something is good for you, but it's not good at all. And that's the difference between wants and needs. I talk about this all the time. We focus more on our wants than our needs. Needs are necessities, things that you can't ignore. Because if you chase your wants, after you get your wants, you still have your needs that you have to deal with. But if you take care of your needs, some of those wants, you realize that they were fluffy and they were frivolous and they were materialistic and they really didn't mean anything. Looking for that quick dopamine hit by going after your wants, you'll get the ultimate dopamine if you go after your needs. I guarantee you, if it's a dopamine hit that you're looking for, a level of satisfaction and completion, if you take care of your needs, there is nothing like that ever. Like when you become responsible, when you're on top of things, when you avoid the things that put you in certain places, you know what I'm saying? When you are aware, when you are conscious of your life right now, that's the ultimate high. Nothing is more fulfilling than the freedom of removing the power that we give other people to use against us.
But I would invite most people to think about what they need, Hormiga, because most people know what they want. They have no idea what they need.
That's the tough one.
I see and it doesn't need to be, right? But I see it all the time. When I ask people, what do you need? And they're so pissed at their partner for not giving them
I
what
love
they
that question because
they do not
it's the same. It's the
know
same
what
as asking somebody, "How you feeling?" They'll never
yeah.
give you the answer.
But
They'll never give you the
if
exact
I
answer
say
of
to you,
what
okay,
you
then tell me
need.
what you need. If we're in a relationship and you're like, you're not getting, well, what do you need? I don't know. Well, then how the fuck am I supposed to give you what you need? And then if I try to anticipate your needs, then I'm going to look controlling,
Correct.
right? And I'm going to give you what I think you want because I might hear your wants. But this is where clarity, communication with yourself first. But ask yourself what you need. All of you, right in here for homework today. What do you need to receive love?
So let me ask you this question, and then I
Just
want
ask
everybody to
yourself.
be able to answer this as well.
Ouch.
So I'm gonna give Laura it first, and then I want to hear from Rush and It's Me. Do you think your needs? What do you think is more temporary, your needs or your wants?
Want. Temporary?
Yeah, what's
What
more
you want change
temporary?
for me, that changes all the time. What I want is going to be based off what I need. And what I need is going to change as I grow and as my beliefs and my rules change about myself. I realize I need less from others, more from me. So that changes and ebbs and flows, but my wants definitely will shift with my needs for me.
Okay, Rush, go ahead.
Time out. Time out. Time out. Real quick. Time out.
Hold on, but before you do that, because I know what you're about to do. Don't even do it. Leave it
Man.
alone. I want everybody to answer first
Sit down.
because when you do that, then people start shifting their answers. So
Yeah, you're
we're
right.
not gonna do it.
Let's keep it authentic and genuine
Yeah,
and not influenced. I get
exactly.
it.
Because it's just like giving somebody a false blueprint. We're not doing that. Go ahead, Rush. Wants and needs. Which one is more temporary for you?
I would say needs because I do communicate that, right? And then when I get that, I don't need it anymore, you know? So, or for that moment, maybe. But I feel like I'm constantly wanting things. I feel like my needs are kind of set, you know? I need peace. I need understanding. I need love. I need affection. I need romance. You know what I'm saying? I need balance. You know, those all are gonna be there. But sometimes my wants change. I may want this, but now I want something else. I got that, now I want something else. Or I didn't get it, but I realized I don't want that anymore. I want something else.
Gotcha. Appreciate it. It's me. Go for it. Needs or wants? Which one's more temporary?
I would have to agree with Laura that my needs change as my wants change as my needs change. Like
Okay.
if I want a new house and it's really big, I might need to go figure out how to make more money to sustain that. So I think they shift for me.
Okay.
But I actually just, if I can take a moment, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. I was thinking I might be able to help you out with this debate on traits. Now I'm at the risk of not being liked. I've put my account private since last live that you had because I got some really hateful DMs, but I am a diagnosed narcissist. I also have BPD. So I'm just gonna let you know that we all have traits. NPD just amplifies those traits. It's like just amplifies them, and they spill over into your quality of life.
Right.
That's right. But the whole process of diagnosis is long and effing horrible. I've spent 9 hours already in total, and I'm going back for another 5 on Tuesday. So if it makes you feel better to know that we live in our own personal hell, we do. But the toughest part about healing as a toxic person is the access to healing is kept secret. It's only available to those who feel that you feel deserving of it, right? But I've really been lucky to meet a community of people that don't hold labels over anybody's head, because we might be walking around with labels we don't even know about, right? My responsibility is to clean up my side of the street. But a lot of that hate comes from the valid pain of your experience. But I'm not your husband or your mother or your friend. Like, I'm not that person, but I understand too the duality and how if I was to talk about it openly, it's probably going to be hard for people to push past their own pain, right? To validate mine. But I also want to conclude that when we get a diagnosis like that, it has to come from somewhere. So mine's trauma based, like a lot of grueling psychological, and that's how my trauma played out in my life. My childhood trauma played out as such, right? And sometimes I feel like saying, I'm really sorry those things happened to you because you didn't deserve that. You just got caught in the crossfire of craziness, right? None of that was ever your fault. Just like my abuser, I come from abuse as well, and none of that was my fault either. Just the way the cards rolled out, I lived out my trauma this way, right? If you didn't live out your trauma that way, here's a gold star. Like, you actually didn't hurt people. That's great. But I did. Yeah, I just sort of wanted to clarify that, that if you have traits, don't be afraid of them. Those are just shadows. We all have shadows. They like to dance with us, you know. But when we bring them to light, they take the power away. But just know that none of that needed to happen for you, and I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that that stuff happened to you, but I just felt like I needed to clarify. I'm very insecure. You know, you might hear in literature that a true narcissist is not insecure or they're not self-aware, but I'm just like, well, Laura, I'm sitting here, so what does that mean? Like, if
You're
I'm
doing
sitting here with
good.
these awarenesses and this insight, what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm not a true because my test says I do? So we're all trying to learn together. We all come from somewhere. I've never asked for forgiveness because there's a lot of things that my abuser did that I don't forgive. So I get that part. Just, and I even have to question myself about my manipulation, right? I have to go through my filter people, my accountability people, because sometimes I don't see that, right? I believe Hormiga might have said that at one point, like making reference to the people with NPD, like we need people to give us a different perspective, and that's true. I also want to add that the self-pity, you're not wrong. Like you're not wrong in any of this, right? But the difference will be if you're dealing with somebody who's not willing, ready, or able to look at any part of their accountability, it can be a dangerous situation. That's all I have to say.
She just created the segue for what I wanted to say, but go ahead.
I appreciate you so much, it's me. I appreciate you so much. One, before the fact, this is the first time you're in my box, so I appreciate that, right? We're gonna give you a shout out for that. Secondly, the fact that you're openly admitting this and you're working on it is rare because we remember when we said we couldn't find somebody that can come up and speak about this, actually they're living in it. We couldn't find somebody that's living in it. And that's why I brought the doctor's perspective, because I wanted everybody to understand there is room for change for somebody that has that disorder. I personally feel like nothing's permanent. I don't feel like anything is permanent. When somebody's labeled that they have a disorder, I feel like you can heal from that disorder. There is change that can be made. You can still live amongst society and still live a happy life. But like she said, people that experience these things, they're not looking at it in that aspect for the narcissist. They're not looking at that in that aspect. They don't care for the narcissist to heal because they've been hurt by a narcissist. Does that make sense? Like they're not worried about if the narcissist is healing or not. They don't care about that aspect. But I did. I wanted everybody to see the perspective of the doctor so you guys can understand what the narcissist has to go through when they finally take accountability of knowing what they are, knowing that they have the disorder, and they heal. They're trying to heal. They're trying to be a part of society.
And I lovingly interrupt you about that because when you say knowing what they are, like it's a different breed. They're humans.
Right.
And I am going to be honest, I'm not a doctor, but a lot of my clients are diagnosed. And this is why I was very open, and I missed that conversation that day. But
okay, I'll bring you down. I'll drop you down.
I know they heal, right? And a big part of that is that a lot of times because there's so many hardwired kind of templates saying they don't, it doesn't give them the freedom to have somebody to listen to them without judgment. And that takes healing. But a lot of times people don't realize those wounded people have been wounded too. Yeah. And there is a cycle to it. And a lot of the labels, while we can have many, those things can shift. And I love that you say that in here, the labels. But it's even like with people with addictions, I don't think they need to stand up in front of a room of everybody and say, hi, my name is, and I'm an alcoholic. No, you are a human being who found a very unhealthy coping mechanism. And that just happened to be it. But until you move through the anger, the pain, and we figure out where that rooted is, we don't know what it is. But we got to lovingly accept that we're human in experience. And I don't think there's a they or them to that. I think there's a human experience. And I know that's not how you meant it. Like I know you, Emmanuel, so I know that's not how you meant it. But right. People rolling through could hear it that way. And T, that is incredibly brave that you came in here. Thank you guys for coming in to support T as well as me, because this is a big thing and it is brave. And not just to say that you're a narcissist. I see a lot of people who have men tagged as narcissists only. And I think that's incredibly unfair to men because there is women very much who are diagnosed as well. And so it's really important to understand it's a human experience And all of us can have traits and behaviors that maybe are less favorable, but it came from somewhere. And it's not about the guilt, shame, and blame. It's about figuring out where you are today and how do you want to move into your tomorrow. So thank you very much for allowing a platform, guys, today that, you know, we could come into as well, because I was about to go live and Ramika, you messaged to thank you, because it's a beautiful conversation. I think the more that we do this together, you'll see that there's more people who are out there talking about it. They just haven't been talking lovingly to the doctors. A lot of the time, they're scared of what that means. And it's no shame to anybody. It's just, it hasn't been an open forum of using that gift of forgiveness, which is living opening and lovingly and just hearing people without judgment, you know. So thank you for providing the platform today and for letting me come in here as well.
No, of course. You guys are always welcome. You guys know that. Over here, we do our best to support anybody going through their process. Because everybody, like I said, everybody has a story. We don't know where their story starts. We don't know where, but we know where we want it to finish. We want it to finish in positivity. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, regardless of how anybody feels about what just happened, just like Lomax said, if it triggered you, take a lap.
Yeah, I have to second that.
You know what I'm saying? If it triggered you, take a lap, come back. Don't leave completely, but come back. But take a lap if you need to.
I see you, Kev. We got about 9 minutes left, right?
Right.
So before we do the closing statements, can you unleash the beast in me? Can I unleash the
Oh
beast?
yeah, go ahead, have fun. Oh, before you do that, for everybody, in regards to the doctor that I'm referring to, if you go on YouTube and type in Diana Diamond. Diana Diamond is the doctor that we were listening to during that live. So if you guys want to go hear what we were speaking on during the healing and the treating the narcissist, that's the name of the doctor on YouTube, Diana Diamond. The YouTube page is called Borderliner Notes. So go ahead on.
All right. So for those that know me, you already know what's coming. For those that don't know me, brace yourself, because this is the part where things can go left very quickly inside of yourself, right? So we were talking about wants and needs, right? And you asked the question, which one is more temporary? They both can be temporary, first of all. Okay, that's number one. But here's where we get it twisted. Your wants and needs are controlled by your desire. Your desire to do things is what's going to lead you towards the need or the want. Now, your identity, that's the question you should be asking yourself. Do you identify more with your wants or do you identify more with your needs? Time out. Because I'm in the process, well, actually finished the process. But for a long time, I was in the process of combining my wants and needs. Because if you keep them separately, they don't work together. Because the wants should be the rewards for fulfilling your needs. But if you want your needs do not feel like a task or as though you are being obligated to do life. You can't have life without taking care of the needs that give you life. But we focus more on our wants because our desires seem to shift towards our wants. Think about the difference between wants and needs. What are needs? Let's get basic. What are needs? Needs are, we got to drink water, right?
Breathe.
We gotta breathe. Well, we don't have to breathe because the body does it on our own. You see, this is the thing. We take life for granted because if we had to breathe, we wouldn't even be here. If the breathing was left up to us, we wouldn't be here. Because some of us don't even want to breathe. Time out. Time out. We're not there yet. Let me wrap it up. This is what's a seesaw, right? This is a seesaw, right? On one side you got wants, on one side you got needs. In the middle you have identity and you have desire. A kid will not do anything unless they want to do it. And if they are doing it, how are they talking under their breath? You tell a kid to do something, you need to clean your room or blah, blah, blah is going to happen. And what are they doing? I hate this. I don't like this. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to get out of this house. My God, you don't help me. But what are they doing? They're folding the clothes, right? What are they doing? They're cleaning the room, right? So then what do we have to teach people? That sometimes you don't have to like what you need to do, but you still have to do it. And that's where we get it twisted. You don't have to like your needs. And you don't have to like your needs to move forward. You don't have to like something or enjoy something to do things. We have to learn how to function from an uncomfortable position so that we can remove that. And if you combine your wants and your needs, if you want your needs will be taken care of. And then you can pat yourself on the back and reward yourself after you take care of your needs.
Beautiful. You know what I invite you, Hormiga, though? To look into the 30th shadow. I pulled it up for you. It's the shadow of desire.
Yes.
In keys. So the shadow of desire goes to the pathway is lightness, but the acidic state is rapture. And it's a very, very, very different state. So well said and well moved. But even the desire is a state that we can move through, and it really has to do with this. And I put everything with the polyvagal system, with your solar plexus, with your power center, and your confidence, and a lot of that. And this is where a lot of people.
Let's take that to the next level. What do I talk about? What do I talk about in the morning? What I talk about in the morning? Get some sun, walk on grass barefoot, because that acidic state that you're talking about can be overturned by the pH balance that we need in our bodies. Where does that come from? The central core, right? In order for us to move from an acidic to a pH and from a pH to acidic, because we have to fluctuate, right? Acidic and pH is like your wants and needs. We need both. We need both, right? They work hand in hand. But we have to learn how to prioritize things so that we're not desiring our wants more than our needs. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I got.
I love it. I love it. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all of it. Listen, when I tell you guys, we never know what's going to happen when we go live. We come with the topic, we come with the information, but we never know how the live's going to, or the live is going to happen. It just kind of just.
Sometimes you don't even know you're going to be on it. So
just let the universe play out. We just let the universe play out sometimes, and it ends up being amazing. It always happens every time here. And I enjoyed the heck out of this live, honestly. So you know what's crazy though? This is only part one.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface right now.
We're just scratching the surface. We only have part one. We still have to do the toxic relationships and family and friendships and in the work environment.
Yeah, but I think it was important for us to recognize that we don't need another person to be toxic. We could be toxic to ourselves, right? We could be toxic in our thoughts, right? So imagine this: if we're functioning on our own in a toxic state, what do you think we're doing to other people?
That's it. We are each other's soil. So whatever soil is feeding us, we are someone else's soil feeding.
I need you to say that again for the people that didn't understand that.
So we feed those around us. We are the soil for those we love and those who are in our environment. But they are also our soil. So figure it out.
Before a flower becomes a flower, it has to be rooted through the seed.
And then boom. And I gotta jump off, guys, too, because I got. But thank you so much.
Give us your last words before you go.
Well, I think we just had them. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I would invite everybody to do and understand is, if you're especially moving through any of this toxicity, is understand that if you've accepted toxicity, there's somewhere in you that frequency lives. When we're triggered, it's because there's something in us ready to release and or receive, but it is for us to be in our awareness. If you don't know what you need, you cannot be upset with anyone else for not giving you what you need or helping you with it. Start feeling out what your needs are, and they may change every day, and find a lot of graciousness and patience for yourself. All right. And start your day by looking at what you want first. Don't start it looking at social media. Set your intentions and go in the energy you want. And know that you can change your behavior and your emotions. You just got to change up your space. You can even be angry in a loving energy. It's very different. So allow yourself. Thank you, gentlemen. And with 80s, all of you.
You, Laura, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to Russian real quick. Russian, any last words that you want to share real quick?
Rush, go ahead, girl.
I really thought it was gonna be like about the family stuff, so I was like ready. I was aimed and loaded. So, but I'll be here next week. But yeah, the self narcissist, or is that what we calling it?
Self toxicity.
Self-toxicity.
Yeah. I struggle with that a lot. And I'm trying to work on that. So when you guys were talking about the asking for help, I like the phrase that you use, like, yeah, I need this done, but I need it done like this. You know, if you can't do it like this, it's okay, never mind, I'll do it. You know, I'm gonna practice that phrase because I do have a problem with that. But I'm trying to see what I want to see. You know.
You're not alone. You see, the thing is that we're not singling nobody out. We all go through this at one point or another, and if we don't go through it, we're watching somebody else go through it. So if it's not something that we're going through directly, we might be able to help somebody else that's actually going through it. You know what I'm saying?
My bad, Kev.
That
was a complete accident, Kev.
Sorry, that I was trying to share it out to him, but I couldn't find him on my list. I'm sorry. That was by accident.
And mind you, he was in the box.
No, not Kevin. Hey, Triplet, come in and tell us some. Tell us what you got out of this, and moving forward, any words of wisdom that you can share.
Really, I just appreciate everybody. I appreciate the information. I'm definitely learning and trying to grow to become a better person. I know, like, I've always been accountable, but I never openly spoke about like my toxic side or the bad. Like, I just kept it to myself because I don't want people to see me in that light because I don't like it. And I don't like, that person that I was and that I'm trying to grow from. So it's nice to hear the way that everybody speaks so openly. Like, it's me coming up. That really touched me to actually hear from like a diagnosed narcissist. That was dope. Like that was it. So I just hope everybody has a blessed day. I appreciate this live and everybody in it. And I think that we're making the world a better place by doing this. It's lovely.
Absolutely.
Mama G, talk to us if you could.
Well, I definitely learned a lot, a lot of things to look out for as far as in a person and myself, because I definitely hold some of them toxic narcissistic traits, but I'm definitely trying to learn to not use them and, not get attracted to them.
Ouch. We get it. We definitely get it. For those that don't know, Kevin, Laugh or Learn, he has his own platform. I've known this man for 2 or 3 years. He actually just left. I was going to ask him to say a few words, but he did his ninja. So I'll just give you a flowers, Kevin. There was a mistake. They blocked you by mistake. I saw the whole situation. Yeah, she was doing a butter. Yeah. Well, we do that here. We throw some roses sometimes when we don't have an answer. So come back, Kevin, real quick. Man, give us some words of wisdom, if anything, that you heard from this conversation, as a little input to this.
Yeah. Let me hear it say so. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I just got kicked again. I don't know what's going on. What's the deal? I was just trying to hop in real quick because I heard y'all talking about that the wants and the needs and stuff. So I would say that's more of a dang. What am I saying? I'm scared to even talk now. I don't know what's going on, but I want to say because I don't even know.
You say.
Well, I was gonna say about that thing you was talking about where about wanting the needs and the needs and wants, right? What I noticed is like when you start actually caring about yourself and having understanding and loving yourself, and you realize how a lot of these things is affecting you, and then you going around people, why the heck you have a thrill out of cussing people out and all this other stuff, you realize you can't keep no friend and stuff. I think the more you start loving yourself and caring about yourself and realize you stressing yourself over some BS, that's when you start really taking that risk of being uncomfortable with, like you know, when they say, oh, I don't want to work out and all this other stuff. Well, when you start loving yourself, you're going to focus on what you eating. When you start loving yourself, you're going to start stop hanging with certain type of people and all this stuff like that. I ain't going to even lie. That just happened to me kind of recently and stuff, because I realized I was in some toxic rooms and stuff. And then I also have like toxic people on my platform, but I was doing it for like a self thing, you know, trying to, you know, because I talk about emotional control so much. And I'm like, let me see if I can let these people, you know, whatever. But I'm like, at the end of the day, they not getting nothing out of it. And I'm scaring away a lot of my people on my platform because they not built. I'm not trying to say it like that, but they're not the same as me. And I can't expect that because I know a lot of people going through things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, let me stop doing it. Let me stop keeping people around like that, because a lot of people, even though I was doing it as a lesson because I want them to become better, but I can't rush them. You know what I'm saying? So I did just, you know, I blocked a couple more people and all that stuff like that. But what I'm getting to is like when you start loving yourself and realizing how the world is affecting you, you start actually going for the things you need in your life. So yeah, that's what I was trying to get on that.
No, and
So you got it. You got the message.
that's dope though, because that self-reflection is important, right? Because I think that's where we're all at right now. I think that's a lot of us right now. We're going through that process of self-reflection and realizing what's for us and what's not for us. And we all have different ways of proving that to ourselves, right? Your way of proving that to yourself is allowing those toxic people in your environment to see if they fit or if they want to work on themselves. You know what I'm saying? What's good, my bro? I see you, Davino. You know what I'm saying? If they see if they fit what you're trying to build, and you realize they didn't fit, so you remove them, which is okay. They might not agree with it, but you agree with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important thing, is your boundaries and your standards. You're building your boundaries and your standards. So that's what that is, Kev, if you didn't know what that was. That's you building your boundaries and your standards. You know what I'm saying? So I'm proud of you for doing that. But what time is it?
And he's come a long way. So, like Mama G, like you, like me, like everybody here, Triplet. Look, listen, we are all here to support each other go down the path of understanding, because you can't do anything until you comprehend what's going on. But we have to remove the stuff that's blocking us from thinking critically, and that's your emotions. Emotional control, emotional intelligence. Learn what emotions are, then learn how to control it. You can't control something that you don't understand. So learn about it, read about it. It feels good to be free and not have your emotions dictate how you do things. Because if you function from your emotions, you're gonna go through a lot of heartache. I don't go through any heartache anymore. When I'm upset, I'm upset. I allow myself to be upset. I figure out why I'm upset, and I figure out what I did to enable this or what I did to make this appear, and then we're done with it. And we learn from it and we move forward. So don't drop the ball on yourself. Sometimes there's opportunities for you to do better and you choose not to because you are afraid of what other people are going to look at you as. Stop that bullshit.
Okay. So I appreciate everybody that came in here. We got to 85.2 likes and we succeeded our goal. We exceeded on that. And we had about 1,500 people that passed in here with 11 new followers into the platform, guys. We're doing amazing. This was just part one. I'm gonna let you guys know that now. So if you experienced part one and you enjoyed part one, and if you had to take a few laps, just know part two and part three you might have to take more. Because
Put
it's
on your
cool to
jogging
talk about the
shoes.
relationship, but when we talk about family, that's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
That is a whole different dynamic.
Hey, Kevin, I want to see you here more too, Kev. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? We definitely need to make that happen.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't tell you guys the big news and what I'm actually working on. We are working on legitimizing everything that is official monumental. So we are also creating a masterclass for self-discovery. We're working on creating a masterclass for you guys for self-discovery. We're gonna have one event that we're gonna have the event that is in person, but the masterclass itself is gonna be on Zoom. No time, no date yet. We're still trying to put the pieces together, but we're gonna be creating a masterclass for self-discovery, so you guys can really work on that and really dive into it. And it's gonna be very interactive. It's not gonna be just just shooting the shit. We're really gonna dive into it. We're really gonna give you guys the information and the tools that is needed in that process. So for what we have now, make sure you guys visit the link tree. If you guys want to join the Discord, send me a message on the back end, or send a message to Sweet Tea. She'll be able to get you in there. Check out the link for the merch that we have. We have a whole bunch of merch. We have a whole bunch of pop-up shops. Follow me on IG at MindYourMental24. If you want to join my Facebook group, Mind Your Mental, make sure you guys hit the link. It'll ask you to join. You know, I'll just, you know, accept the invite, or if you want to join, just send just approve it, and I'll approve it on my end. Tap it, I'll approve it on my end. Make sure you guys check out the stuff that we post on here every day. Like, we really post some positive stuff, and it hits different. Like, if you're really paying attention to it, it hits different. You know what I'm saying? And it really makes you self-reflect. If you're not looking at my content, make sure you're looking at Hormiga's content, because Hormiga's content hits different. Especially that one that went viral. That one was crazy. That was wild. Make sure you grab my book, Mind Your Mental. Make sure you grab Living Above the Norm. If you guys haven't purchased those books, you are missing out. And if you're in the Discord and you want to join the Discord, we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of books in the library. We have a lot of links to different topics that we've actually worked on with the resources needed. We're just a community that wants to see everybody do good and do better. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys want to be a part of that community, send me a message on the back end and let me know that you want to be a part of it. And when you do copy that link, make sure you put it in your browser. Copy the link and attach it to your browser, and it'll go through. But I love you guys.
Make sure you download the app. You have to download the app first. If you don't have the app, the link is not going to work. It's going to direct you to download the app. So in order to avoid all that extra shit, download the app, then hit the link. It'll direct, set that all up for you.
Absolutely.
So am I worthy enough to join the cool crew?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to make sure I want to get blocked to get something started.
See, let me tell you something. It ain't about the favoritism. I know Kevin just as long as I know Teddy, right? It ain't about the favoritism. It's about the ability to grow. It's about the ability to be open-minded and to learn how to be flexible. Oh, look who's there. Uh-oh.
Not the hat.
Now, Mr.
Trying to
Hollywood.
twin with me? That's what we doing? We twinning today?
The hat. That's what.
Should I get my hat too? I feel left out.
Yeah.
You gotta get one, bro.
What was that time? You got Chicago Bulls hat?
Yeah.
Nah, I'm a Knicks fan, man. We got problems.
Hormiga, you about to end our relationship fast.
But I like Michael Jordan.
Okay, the redemption is there.
Yeah, I'm just not a Pippen fan.
Here we go. I brought those.
Put it back on.
Ooh, that's the hat that I sent him.
Hey, Davino, since you're in here and you've been known to say some profound things and you've been listening in the chat, you wanna throw something real quick in there? Something, any one-liners or something that people should be listening to?
Okay, give me the a brief synopsis of it. I've been listening on and off.
Toxic relationships.
He said the whole who. He said the whole who. Is that it?
Well, I guess previous to me, you did have some toxic relationships. So
That is true.
Oh, this is there.
Yeah, that is true. Because here's the thing. I wasn't aware that I was in toxic relationships when I was in them because the skills that I was born with were flustered. And I was blind to my own fact of seeing the toxicity in people because I always wanted to give the benefit of the doubt. I will often tell people and no disrespect to the queens, and I adore you all, but I hear a lot of y'all say, oh, when I start seeing red flags, and that be the biggest problem with me for the simple fact that if you treated it like, because you saying red and green, if you treat it like a street light, you'd have way better results. Stop waiting till you see red flags, and when you start seeing a yellow fucking flag, slow the fuck down and observe what's going on around you. Then you will never have to make it to a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Never. If you at a yellow light and you slowing down in, why can't you do that in your own goddamn life?
I'll take it a step further.
Because the yellow light means speed the fuck up. That's
Okay.
why. It don't mean slow
Everybody got a
down.
lead foot like you, Mama G.
I'm,
She got a heavy foot.
I'm gonna take it a step. I'm gonna take it a step further. Y'all ready for this one? And I'm gonna end it here because I know Kev wants to talk, but I need to get ready because I have some things I gotta do later today. Half of the time, the red flags that they see is their red flags.
True. A lot of people turn that mirror into themselves. They cannot.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you leave everybody with a cliffhanger for next week?
A lot of the times, the red flags that they see is a self-reflection of the thing that you chose not to heal from or your own toxicity.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
If you're going to end it here, we're going to go out 20. Hold on.
Oh.
We're going to go out 20 if you're ending it here.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I appreciate everybody that came through. We got 88.2 likes. We got 35 people in here still chilling, and I appreciate all of you for sticking around with us and enjoying the family. You know what I'm saying? Because we are very far and wide. And look at sis in the building. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? I do appreciate everybody. I really do. You guys were truly amazing. Shout out to all my moderators that were here supporting the movement. Shout out to the new moderators, Sander and Lomax in the building. Shout out to them really holding it down. Mama G, Triplet, Babe. Shout out to all of you guys. Shout out to the NYM family in the comments. Okay, all my people that are in the Discord that came through and showed support and stuck around the whole process. You guys are truly amazing. Shout out to Frosty and Lala that's in the chat. Shout out to Resh in the building. Shout out to all of you guys. You guys are doing amazing. Shout out to It's Me for being the open book that she was. Because when I'm telling you, that hit me deep. Because me personally, I believe that a narcissist can heal. So that right there was important for me to hear. So, part 2, guys. Next Saturday. Be prepared. Understand. We're talking about toxic families. So, like I said, if it's going to trigger you, take a lap. But come back. You know what I'm saying? Don't run away. Because we never want you guys to run away. We always want you guys to come back. So next Saturday, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And tonight, they have Can't Make This Shit Up at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will not be there because I will most likely be in Connecticut. So I won't be able to attend.
With me.
You know what I'm saying? So I love you guys.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm kidnapping Sweet Tea and King. Sorry, not sorry.
So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
Bro, most importantly, and again, no disrespect to anybody, shout out to Ormiga. And I'm going to give a shout out to Ormiga because he's always been a stand-up dude since day one I met him.
Absolutely.
I've seen the growth, the loyalty, and the respect that he has for you, which made me show him even more love. Like each and every place I've encountered you guys, he got your back 1,000%, and I know it's vice versa.
But we fight like cats and dogs sometimes too. Don't get it twisted.
That's how you know you love each other. That's how you know we love each other. But big up to you, bro.
It comes with it. It comes full circle. It really does come full circle.
You know, thank you for that, bro. Thank you.
Thank you, because we need more motherfuckers out here like that. And shout out to you, bro, because we go through this TikTok world. So we circle this bitch a couple thousand times, and ain't a lot of people still out here doing that. And you sticking to your consistency, you sticking to your loyalty, you sticking to your guns, and you doing the shit other people don't do. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
You just made my day, bro. You always do that, man. You always find a way to.
God damn it! I'm trying to end off on an unfluffy
You know what's funny? That he complimented me. He complimented me before I complimented him because I was gonna tell him that between him and his mate, that the energy. I like the energy that y'all got. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt that energy. You know what I'm saying? So no, I'm a man of energy. I know when something.
That's it's my world, man. It's my world.
I love it. And listen, it's a big family, y'all. We've been rocking with everybody's been rocking with each other for a minute. So You know what I'm saying? You may not see everybody's face all the time, but trust and believe, when they're here, they're here.
Facts.
Remember.
Connecticut.
Love
Amiga,
y'all
tú
to the
vienes para
hot bone.
Connecticut.
Better see you in October.
Amiga.
Possible. It's possible.
Okay.
You
It's
never
possible.
know. You never
Let's
know.
I might be in
go.
Connecticut. Yes, I might be. That might happen.
That might happen. You never know.
Let's
But
go.
in a world full of negativity, make sure y'all choose love and love on purpose. Keep life simple. Love is the glue. Respect is the flavor. You dig, you dig, you dig. Make sure y'all living within your value energy. And I pity the fool who don't mind their mental. Peace.